on, people? We are Tottenham TV, and it is the late night show once again. Big up to everyone out there, and
hello.
Big up to you, Sim. Big up to you as well.
Big up. We're getting closer and closer to that announcement. Thomas Frank on getting on that train. Everyone's getting on that train. People think I'm not on the Frank train. I'm on the Frank train. I'm just not on the club train. All right. People need to get a grip. I'm happy with Thomas Frank. I've got no problem with him. It's just about the club. All right.
You're on the negative train. That's what you're on. That's what you're on.
I'm not negative. I'm not negative. I can't believe people are finally accusing me of being negative.
And accusing me of being positive.
What happened to my toxic positivity?
Yeah, I don't know. You tell me. Anyway, we got a few news stories to bring you today. There was an update yesterday regarding Antoine Semenyo. Another one today. Alex Crook from TalkSport saying that Tottenham chairman Daniel Levy has met with Semenyo's advisors about a possible summer transfer news. Bournemouth do value him at £70 million, which I think is fairly steep for Semenyo. Look, he's a good player. I like him. I do like him. It's just a bit of a step down from, like, let's say, an Mbeumo.
Yeah, I think Mbeumo is a bit of a cut above Semenyo from what I've seen. Obviously, similar ages, been in the Premier League, similar amount of time. And I think Semenyo is good at certain things, and Mbeumo is better at certain things. Semenyo is a bit more two-footed. I think he gets a bit more shots off. I think Mbeumo is a lot more clinical, and I think he's a lot more creative as well. And I just think he's a bit smarter than Semenyo. I think Semenyo might be a bit of a better dribbler, but I think Mbeumo kind of picks his dribbling moments better than Semenyo. Semenyo kind of gets the ball and does like 3 or 4 dribbles a game and maybe loses the ball a bit more, whereas Mbeumo might dribble less but be a bit more successful than Semenyo. Semenyo goes for the shots a lot more, whereas in Mbeumo I feel like his decision-making is a lot better. But if Semenyo played under Frank, who knows? Maybe he can improve those things and maybe become a better player playing under Frank than playing kind of the helter-skelter football that Iraola demands, kind of 100 miles an hour. 100% agree with you. I think 70 million is steep. I think he's around a 45 to 50 million pound player. That should really be the price we're looking for. I think that's a fair price, to be honest. But with Bournemouth selling a lot of high-profile players this summer, they've probably got no appetite to let more people go. So whether he's going to be easy to get out of Bournemouth, it remains to be seen. But I do like Semenyo. I think he'll be a good addition. I think Frank will have a lot to work with. But yeah, 70 million is pretty crazy.
Yeah, I think it goes back to that point that you were saying about, Frank and him being able to improve players. I do think you'll see, if we were to find Semenyo, him go up another level. And, maybe he can reach the heights that Mbeumo did reach, under Frank as well. Like, it'll take time, obviously, to develop a player like that, but I really like him. And I think if we were to sign him, you could see him dramatically improve.
And he can play both sides as well. He equally plays on the right or the left. Because he's pretty two-footed. So I think there's a lot of positives to having someone like Semenyo. I just think he's got to improve his ability to create, his weight of pass, that kind of stuff. I think a lot of the time he's quite wasteful, and if he's not taking a shot, I think a lot of the time the chance goes to waste. So I think he's got to improve that. But I do think clearly as a very talented player there who can clearly get goals at this level, and that's not to be sniffed at.
Do you think it is a deal that we're going to look to get done? And if it is 70 million, do you think we actually go for that? I mean, surely it's a negotiation and you kind of probably meet halfway somewhere at like 50 to 60 million.
Yeah, I don't think we pay 70 million. In theory, if they're stubborn on that price, and surely you just go for an Eze, right? Why go for pay a bit more for Semenyo? You probably go for an Eze. So I think it's one we'll look at. I think we'll try
go for an Eze anyway. Like, isn't Eze just a better player?
I mean, I would go for Eze anyway. I'm just saying, if 100%, I would go for Eze. I think we will look at Semenyo. I think I agree with you. I think we'll look to get that price down. I think we'll see maybe Bournemouth. Maybe we'll try and see if they're willing to soften their stance. If they are, I think maybe there's a deal to be done for like 50 million or 45 plus add-ons or something like that. Maybe we'll look at it, but I don't think we're going to pay 70 for him. No.
Next up, we're going to talk about Anthony Elanga, as the Bleacher Report saying that Tottenham are closely watching Elanga of Nottingham Forest. Obviously, had such a great season this year under Nuno. Do you feel like Elanga is a player that we should be looking at?
I like Elanga. He's had a really good season for Nottingham Forest. Bit of a weird one. Obviously, he's been there for 2 years now after breaking through at Man United, and I would say like his first season was decent. Last season it was weird. Like up until like November time, wasn't really in the team as much or really contributing. And then I think there was one game he scored against, I think it was Aston Villa in a game they won 2-1. They won late on, and then from there he went on like a really mad run, like getting really regular goals and assists, and really found his confidence. And he's got lightning speed. I think he's a really good player, Elanga. I don't think he's on the level of a Semenyo or an Mbeumo. I think he's a level below that. But he's also quite young, I think, isn't he? How young is he?
23.
He's 23, so he's a bit younger than those two, only by a couple of years. I think he's really improved this season with Nottingham Forest, and I think he's really good for like playing on the counter. I've seen him score those counter goals where he's a very good ball carrier, like over long distances, a very strong runner over long distances. Got a really good left foot, really nice, cool finisher. I feel when he's in front of goal, he's got good composure. Yeah, I like him. I think I'd look at him. I think you kind of feel like you would hope he can take his game to another level if we sign him, but I think he's got potential to do so. I really do.
Yeah,
but I wouldn't pay. I wouldn't pay as much as I'd pay for Semenyo or Mbeumo for him. I think
the max you'd probably want to play for Elanga is something like 45 million.
Yeah.
I think the attributes that he has can work really well in a Frank system, and not only has he played on the right wing, he's played a bit up front this season for Forest as well. And you know, his explosive. I mean, he's explosive, isn't he? In terms of his pace, he's such a quick player. Yeah. And I feel like you mentioned, this season he's really kind of refined his finishing a little bit, and when he gets in those moments, he can be clinical at times. So I feel like a player like that, who's probably what you say is like you say hasn't reached the level of a Semenyo or a Mbeumo or players like that. I feel like this guy. I said it about Semenyo, but I believe it for this guy even more, that someone like the manager can really take his game to beyond the levels that we're seeing, like well beyond the levels that we're seeing right now.
Yeah, I think he's different to Semenyo, whereas Semenyo is more of a ball to feet, run your man kind of attacker. He's more of a running behind, exploit the space kind of attacker, I feel, Elanga. And it'll be interesting to see if he comes to Spurs, and obviously we're playing and maybe a bit more possession based, and teams Elanga's have a bit more of the ball, because that's how it works a lot, and he's not got that space. If he's going to be as effective as he has been for Forest, who obviously predominantly play on the counter, I think that's really worked in his favour, the way Forest play. So in terms of a natural fit right now, from what I've seen, I don't know if it's a natural fit, but I do think there's a lot of talent there, and there is unbelievable pace. And he's not the kind of guy who's going to get the ball and run past people, dribble past people in tight spaces. He's more of the guy, like, if he sees space, he'll run into it. That's the kind of attacker he is.
100%. But he's also versatile as well, like left wing, right wing, up front. I mean, this season didn't play much on the left, but he has done that in the past, particularly in his first year at Nottingham Forest. So I think he's a player. Look, he's not going to be my first choice to bring through the club. I'd much rather a Semenyo or an Eze. But if we are like limited with options and we can't get those ones over the line, I wouldn't say no to Elanga. I really wouldn't.
Yeah, I do. In a perfect world, I would say we probably need a bit of a different profile than him. I would say we do need a bit of a guy who gets the ball to feet, because I feel like Johnson, Son, right now anyway, they're at their best running in behind, and instead of having the ball to feet and running at people. We have like Odebear, but obviously we haven't seen enough of him. So apart from like him, we don't really have any of those kind of attackers too much. So we need that kind of profile. Like Eze would be perfect. Semenyo has that kind of ability as well. Whereas Elanga needs to show more of that, I feel.
Well, you want someone of that profile?
Although apparently he's only on 25 grand a week as well.
Well, that's going to prick. You shouldn't have said that. That's going to prick BBC right. You're asking for a player that likes ball to feet and likes to run at his defender as well. I'm going to talk to you about a player called Dorgeles Nene of RB Salzburg, and apparently Tottenham are interested in him. Not the best source, only Team Talk. However, I've been looking into this guy a bit, and he looks phenomenal. He plays predominantly on the left side, but can play all across the front three. Has absolutely exploded this season for RB Salzburg, and we know RB Salzburg, they've got an absolute conveyor belt of talent. He's got he's got how many goals? 13 goals or something, and 8 assists this season. In the season last year, the season before, he was at Westerlo and got very similar numbers. So he's gone to a better league in terms of the Austrian and the Belgian league. He's kind of like smashed both those leagues up. Young player, versatile, has the attributes that can play possibly left wing back as well. Does the hard work rate, defensive numbers are really good, and a clinical player and a creative player, and likes to take on his man, a dribbly winger.
Yeah, I'm looking at his underlying data. Definitely a guy who works hard and clearly very good at dribbling. Outside of that, it seems as though his stats aren't so impressive. I know he gets goals and assists clearly, and maybe there's something that, look, this is barefaced. I don't watch a lot of the Australian Bundesliga, unfortunately, but seems as though he doesn't perform so well when it comes to like how many shots he gets off, kind of what his XG numbers are. I guess it means he's kind of outperforming his XG if he's got low XG but high goal tally. So maybe it means he's got a good shot on him, but doesn't really create much either. It says his key passes are very low. So clearly quite a raw talent, it seems, I would say. But clearly very good at dribbling, like one of the better dribblers in Europe, it says here.
Yeah. He's also a Mali international, 23 caps, 7 goals. So Mr. Yves Bissouma would know him pretty well, 22 years of age. But yeah, like, I mean, look, his numbers are good, like 8 assists this season. He can't be, I mean, fairly good creation levels if he's got 8 assists this season.
Oh, I see why the data is actually, this data is nonsense because it's only looking at Champions League because it doesn't have the Austrian data.
Yeah.
So look, maybe he's one of these regens that we're looking at. That's what I'm referring to. If the scouting identifies someone that they really believe can do it, even though I've never heard of him, go for it. He works for Brighton. It works for a lot of these clubs, and that's kind of, we got to be smart in this window, I think.
And we were talking about it before, Sim, when we were in the studio as well, about you were mentioning that Franks likes to sign these kind of players and take them on and develop them and take them on to the next level. I mean, looking at what he's doing for RB Salzburg and what he did at Westerlo last season, he could be a good kind of option for that.
Yeah, he seems good. I mean, he's not like a teenager. He's 22. So he's not, but look, he's still young and he's doing well. Look, 17, I can see 17 goal contributions for Salzburg. He got 7 last season for Salzburg and then 11 for Westerlo. I mean, it's pretty good. I wouldn't say it's out of this world, but yeah, it looks decent.
Yeah, well, he's improving year on year. But what I really like the look of is it's actually in the second half of the season, he really kind of exploded. Like in his last, 8 games, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now he got like 10 goal contributions.
Well, that's a bit of a red flag, in my opinion.
Why is that? You don't
because,
think?
I mean, that means it kind of implies it might be just a good run of form.
Could be, but the underlying data and everything like that kind of suggests that he's kind of really good.
Dribbling, yes. Look, again, the underlying data I'm looking at is they don't really have the Austrian stuff, so they only really have Champions League. But I don't know. I wouldn't say I'm totally convinced based on what I'm seeing here. I'm saying clearly he's a talent.
I was watching a few compilations of him.
Here we go.
He just looks insane, man. He looks so good.
It's another Gift Orban.
Nah. This guy's better than Gift Orban, and Gift Orban's going to come good.
Would you take him this summer?
Nah, probably not. But look, like I said, like RB Leipzig just have this like conveyor belt of talent, and he's also been linked. He's also been linked, like in the last year, like last summer, he was linked to a Premier League move as well.
Look, you're not selling me that we have to sign this guy based on this.
I'm not saying we have to sign him. I'm just saying due to the conversation we had before about Frank and getting these unknowns and making them into like really good Premier League established players, this could be a good kind of bet.
Potentially. I mean, yeah, sure, why not?
And last but not least, we're going to talk about Sonny. he made some comments after the Korea game today. He was asked about his future and about the rumors of him leaving, and he said, I still have 1 more year left on my contract. Rather than saying anything at this moment, I think we should all wait and see what happens. But no matter where I end up, I'll always do the best I can. It will never change. And Alistair Gold, off the back of that, was talking about him in his video today. And he said, Son is more open to a move away from Spurs this summer than he ever has been before. And the chances of Son moving to Saudi Arabia are higher now than they were when they last approached him in 2023. A move to the MLS is also believed to be of some interest to Son. However, MLS sides are unlikely to have the funds to complete such a deal.
Yeah, he tweeted it in his news as well, like a specific tweet.
Yeah, I think he tweeted one of those quotes. I don't know about all of them, but anyway, Son leaving would absolutely break my heart, to be honest. It really would. You're looking at Ange when he first came in, he had to deal with it without Kane, and now potentially Frank coming in without Son, which would be absolutely mad to think about. First of all, do you think this is the right time for Son to leave? And second of all, do you think he would actually go to Saudi or the MLS right now at this stage of his career?
Do I think it's the right time? Potentially. I mean, he goes when having won a trophy. We know he's 32. He's got 1 year left on his contract. He's not getting any better, but I still think he's playing at a good level. Put it that way. But he's obviously not getting any better. But he still provides a lot for us, and he's still got 22 goal contributions last season, so not to be sniffed at. But at the end of the day, if it was anyone else but Son, who we love so much, it would be a bit of a no-brainer to sell. But obviously, Son is our captain. He's a legend. He's been here for a long time, and he's still good. So I wouldn't say it's a foregone conclusion, but if he was to leave, if he left, you'd probably say it's the right time. But while it's in limbo, you kind of still want him to stay. You still don't want to let him go in that sense. But I can understand where his head's at, where he's thinking probably, it might, like if I'm putting myself in Son's shoes, he's probably thinking it's summer of change at Tottenham. Yeah, a lot of changes the manager, changes the board level. Is it a bit of a reset summer again? Is it another transitional summer? Do I want my last season at Tottenham to be a transitional season? All these different things may be swirling through his head right now. Is it time to, let the young guys, come through? Is it time for me just to step aside, having won that trophy? I've achieved what I needed to after 10 years. Now maybe it's time. Now it might be the right time to move on. Now, I don't think it's a foregone conclusion. First of all, because what you said, I don't think his heart is set on Saudi. I don't think his mind is driven by money. So I don't think he's like desperate to go there. I think it's more of a good European club, or just a good European club, I would say. If there's a move on the table there to stay playing at the one of the top 5 leagues, I think that would be something he'd be more open to, especially ahead of a World Cup in 2026, where he wants to try and go into that tournament probably at the top of his game. So I don't think he's desperate to go there. I wouldn't completely rule it out, but I wouldn't in my mind, I don't think he's like jumping at the chance to go there. But I think maybe if it's a case of, if it comes late in the window, not really many options, and Tottenham like really want to sign, like, I don't know, Eze or something, and we're like, Son, you kind of have to make way here, then maybe he'll be like, okay, fine. But I think, I don't know if that eventuality is ever going to come. I don't know if we're ever going to force him out or anything like that. I doubt it. So if it's up to him and it's either like go to Saudi or stay, I think he'll probably stay. Now, I also think maybe Frank can sit down with him and say, look, I know you're 1 year left, but you're my captain. I need you for this year. And also, look, this is how we're going to fit you in. This is how we're going to play. If we do this, you're going to get 15 to 20 goals. I tell you, you're still good enough. I've looked at your performances, and I can really see why I can get you scoring goals again. And maybe sit down and think, okay, I believe in this, and maybe I will just give this another year. And maybe even in this year, we can give it, if he's that good and shows that he's still not as declined as maybe some are saying, then maybe he can even sign another contract. I wouldn't rule that out completely as well, because I think he loves being here. And I think, but I just feel like right now, while it's in the summer, Frank's not being appointed, Ange's just been sacked, he's away on international duty. He's probably just looking at the overview of the situation, thinking, I don't know if I want to stay for another year potentially, or not want to stay, but I don't know. Maybe it's just the right time. It could be this summer. And clearly, what he's saying. I mean, judging by his quote, if he's the captain and if his mind is very focused on next season and staying here, I don't think he says what he says. Clearly, his mind is clearly his mind in his mind, I should say, is leaving. Because otherwise, we wouldn't say. I don't know. I'm curious to see what happens next season. What if you're a captain? You got a year left. You're not out of contract. You got a year left, and you've just won Europa League. You're supposed to be obviously committed to the new project or whatever. He clearly has his mind potentially on leaving here.
Yeah, but yeah, look, like Alistair Gold said, he's the most open he's been to leaving since being here, which I can understand to a certain extent. He's been here a long time. Legend of the club. He finally got that trophy. However, the way I look at it is if he does leave this summer, it will hurt me a lot, and it will always make me think what could he have done under the new manager, Thomas Frank, because I think Frank, I've said it a few times, I think Frank will really play to his strengths. I think he'll get him into that those areas which we know Sonny can really perform at. And also, if you let him leave this summer, you need to get someone in that's going to get you 20 plus goal contributions. And are we going to do that? Can we do that even?
We can.
Well, will we?
Will we is another question. We definitely can. But I don't know especially as he's a high earner. So if you get those wages off, theoretically, you give those wages to someone else.
Yeah, look, if we can get Victor Gyökeres if we really wanted and put the money down on the table. But I can't see us getting rid of Sonny and bringing someone in at that level that's going to get us 20 plus goal contributions. And I feel Sonny is still at the level. Yeah, he's not the Sonny that we knew from 2-3 years ago for sure, but he's still at a level that can get us consistent goal contributions and make a real impact in our team next season. And I guarantee you, if he's in our team next season, we'll see a much better version of Sonny than we saw this season under Ange Postecoglou. And this year, he got 17 goal contributions in what was a poor year for Sonny, which everyone was saying he's past it, he's washed, he's this, he's that. He ain't anything of the sort. And this season, going into next season, like I said, he will see a much better version of Sonny. And I actually think it'll be a mistake to let him go this summer.
I don't disagree with anything you're saying. It's more of just a time thing, I would say, rather than a quality or anything like that. I think the guy's been here 10 years. He's stated publicly the reason he stayed so long is to get that trophy over the line and fulfill that kind of dream. He's now done it. He's been through so many managers, and how many managers has he been through? 5, 6, 7? How many managers?
Poch, Nuno, Jose, Conte, Ange, and now Frank. This is his sixth manager.
Yeah. So sixth manager. Does he have the kind of excitement to go into kind of? Well, I know he still loves Spurs, but does he have that kind of hunger to lead yet another kind of go into a season with another new manager, another different approach, another new thing, especially when there's a lot of change going around? He might just feel with all this change, maybe I should be part of it. Maybe he feels that. I don't know. I'm just thinking
on the other side of that, the guy is the role model, top professional. You won't get a better professional than Sonny. And once he's back and in and around it, he'll have that hunger and desire to do well for Tottenham Hotspur for sure.
I don't doubt that, and I'm just saying right now, is that how he feels? I'm saying, going into this new season, I think maybe there's just that little thing in his mind thinking this could be time. I've just won the trophy now on a high.
The reality is, Spurs are going to want to, top whack for him with 1 year left on his deal. I can't see anyone putting the money down on the table apart from Saudi.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's unlikely that anyone apart from Saudi puts the money that Tottenham will want on the table for this summer.
Yeah, so I still think he'll probably be here next season.
But he is talking like he might not be, so that is a bit of a concern.
Look, I think he's talking like he's open to it. He's open to leaving if the right deal comes around. But will the right deal come around this summer? I do question that.
Yeah, it might not. It might not. And hopefully, one chat with Frank, and he's all those thoughts of leaving at the back of his mind.
Yeah, I think so. But the reality is though, if Sonny is here next season, we're going to have to manage his minutes a lot better than we did this season. That's for sure.
Yeah, 100%. And look, but there's also rumours that we're going to sign Tel and a left winger. I mean, if that's true, that kind of hints at the club are planning on him leaving. But I agree. We know he can't play every minute. We know he can't start every game. And there were definitely times last season, especially when we had lots of injuries, that he was forced to do so. And that didn't help him, I don't think, at all. Even in that period, there were some games he stepped up for us. But yeah, I agree. I think he's going to have to be managed. We're going to have to make sure that when we play Son, we've got a fresh Son. I still think I agree. He's got so much to give. In Champions League games, I think he can still be deadly, and picking his moments in those kind of games. But yeah, we are obviously going to have to succession plan, though, aren't we?
Yeah, I mean,
we haven't done a great job of that yet.
No, I mean, look, the succession plan for Kane was a Richarlison and then a Solanke, which is obviously nowhere near the kind of levels that you're going to get with Kane. But the problem is with replacing these players like Kane and Son, you're never going to really truly replace them because that's how good they were.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but you got to try to. It's not about replacing, it's just finding the next guy who's going to be playing in that position. And we've obviously failed massively. Like we brought on Werner. Obviously, Tel has flattered to deceive so far. But maybe it'll be signing a Tel and signing one other, or maybe we'll just put our trust in Tel. It's going to be an interesting summer, I think.
Yeah. But look, that is your Tottenham update for today. Let us know your thoughts about
everything. Sonny, come on, stay. Come on.
Let us know about everything that we've spoken about in the comments section below. And it's that time of the day again, people. It's that time of the day again.
It's the most wonderful time of the day.
We're gonna introduce him as the positive one.
Yeah,
Mr. Bagel.
Yes, mate, I've had to call the doctor today because I've had a face ache from smiling so much today.
Oh, is that the here we go? Is that because we've got the here we go?
Mate, I woke up. Listen, my sleep again is all over the shop. I woke up at 2:47 in the morning, pissed off that I was awake at stupid o'clock, going through Twitter and checking everything. Totally worth it. At 2:56 a.m. Toronto time, here we go. And then I've just been buzzing the whole day. I am so happy. We Are Tottenham TV daytime aren't going to know what hit them this season with my positivity and Ben's positivity, and we'll get Simeon there sooner rather than later.
I'm positive about Frank, Brian. I'm positive about Frank.
I know you are, brother.
You're not convincing anyone yet, Sim. You have to say it like you mean it.
I'm positive about Frank. I'm just not excited about another manager.
That I understand, but this one, we honestly, I cannot explain how like I've wanted this guy for 2 years. It's very rare that Tottenham actually put off something that I've been dying to happen, and my God, they've done it today. They've done it.
Brian, what's your thoughts on the Sonny situation?
I was having a conversation with a couple of people on it. I think if he wants to go, if he's turned around to the club and said, the time is now, I want a fresh start, I can go as a legend, then I hope the Spurs facilitate everything to make him move. Hopefully they don't see it as a big price to whack on to deter, but he is 32. I've seen Man City with players like Mahrez when he wanted to leave. They're like, off you go, you've done so much for us, cheap price. If he wants to go, facilitate it, but make sure he gets a very big farewell, unlike what Harry Kane got, because obviously that was quite a frosty exit. But if he wants to stay, like you said, Ben, it will be a different him playing more centrally next season. Let him stay. If he wants to go, do it. If it's the club that wants him to go and Sonny wants to stay, I really hope he stays.
What do you think the quotes he said today tells you about where his head's currently at? He says, he was asked about his future, and he says, yep, I'm curious about what happens next.
Yep.
You know, we'll see kind of thing. Whatever happens, I'm always going to give 100%. You know, those aren't quotes that tells me he's definitely staying. It does it.
Correct. That's the first time we've heard anything like that where it isn't, no, I'm Tottenham.
Yeah.
No, I'm batting this away. It's
and he's a captain, remember. This is the captain saying this.
Yeah. And if he goes, he goes. If he wants to, I just where he ends up. Could he go back to Germany? Could he go to a new league? Could it be Saudi? Wherever he goes, he'll leave a hero, won't he? He'll leave a legend.
I think he only goes to Germany or something like that at the end of his contract. I just can't see one of these teams splashing out like 40+ million.
Leverkusen just got a big 150 million paycheck.
Yeah, that's true.
Do remember as well, Ben, if he does go 40 million, as we know how much money Sun brings into the football club, away from, he brings in so much revenue from the Far East, they'll make that up in no time.
Yeah,
they'll make that up. So I don't think it's such a big deal, the price for the club, because they'll make it back and then some.
Yeah, it's a good point. It's a good point. And I think Spurs will probably try their best to keep him at the club, you know.
Yep.
Not only just for his quality, but for that reason as well.
Well, this is the thing. This is where it's gonna. Well, we're gonna have to wait and see, isn't it? But you would hope if Sonny has said, I think it's time. The twilight of my career, I want to try something new. The Spurs would not do a Harry Kane gentleman's agreement and actually say, okay, Sonny, thanks for everything. Let's get this sorted for you. And it's more money.
If he did that, I don't think they would demand 40 million.
That's a good point as well. That's actually a very good point as well. Would they drop the price? And the price is just speculation at the moment, isn't it?
Well, let's be honest. Yes, he brings in a lot for the club. He's also a 32-year-old in the last year of his contract. That's just
correct.
The facts of the matter.
Correct. You're right, Sim.
So,
yeah, but you seeing Daniel Levy give up that Korean money as easy as that?
We've got Heung-Min.
It's not the same.
I know. But like we said, again, that could open the door as well. We were speaking yesterday. And not just because of this, or not because of this entirely, but maybe Kim Min-jae comes in.
Is a year of Son in money that he brings in worth more than 30 million?
I don't know.
If we're thinking Royal Levy caps now, we're going just bare ruthless.
Don't ever ask me to do that. Don't ever ask me to do that.
Levy-nomics.
You just think about the amount of merchandise they sell every game day. The merchandise they sell out in Korea as well, which, you know, nobody ever sees because we're here. The amount of Koreans that are following Spurs week in, week out, it's just mad. The amount of money that he generates for this club week in, week out, I think is a crazy amount. I don't know if it's 30 million over the course of the season. I don't know.
30 million, 200 grand a week in wages would be saving.
Yeah. I don't know.
Is it more than that?
And it's not even just the money he brings in, it's about the boosting the club's profile in that part of the world as well.
There is that. Well, only time will tell. But like Sim asked when the comments are probably the biggest indication that there is a possibility. Because normally he just bats them away, doesn't he?
100%. Usually, you know, last year it was no chance to go Saudi.
Yeah.
You know, he's not interested in that. He's got things he still wants. What did he say? He said, I've still got things I want to achieve in my career or something like that.
Yeah.
And now it's very, very different, isn't it? A very different response.
Exactly. Also, you got to think about it. During his time at Spurs, has anyone really seriously contemplated coming in for him? Because I don't think in his time there really has been any concrete interest.
There's been rumours here and there, but never any bids or anything, not to my knowledge.
Can't believe I just used the word concrete.
Buzzword bingo number 1 on this stream.
Mate, there was one today. We've exploded into the race.
Who was that for?
It was for 1 second. I don't think where was it? I've got it on my Twitter at the moment. Let me have a look at my Twitter. It just said Tottenham explode into the race to sign lightning fast winger for Thomas Frank, and it's only the snippet of that part. So I don't know which winger they're talking about, but we're exploding for a lightning fast winger.
Maybe it was the Elanga one.
Maybe.
or Semenyo. I don't know.
Maybe.
So yeah, Paul, let's see what the chat think. Do they think he will be or won't be? Will he or won't he? Let's see.
Let me get to these super chats. First of all, Marcus, been a member for 8 months.
Come on, Marcus.
No, 8 months is a significant time, but it's not the positive one time. Mikey Moore should be Son's long-term replacement. Thomas Frank should help facilitate that by developing like Ange developed Bergvall last season. Do you reckon, could Mikey Moore have a Bergvall season next season?
Look, he's a year older, and so that means probably a year more physically matured. And clearly last season, I think, yes, there were times where he struggled, but also there were times where he looked like he was at home at that level. I think I would say he more struggled when he was playing Premier League opposition than didn't. But, he's now learned from that. He's a year older. Maybe he can make an impact next season. Maybe not straight away, but maybe given a bit more regular game time, maybe it can be a real breakout season in terms of really being at home at Premier League level next season. I wouldn't rule it out because it depends how he develops over the summer.
Be under the stewardship of Frank as well to really get the best out of him, get him into those best positions where he's capable of really making an impact.
100%.
Chameleon Eyes says, as a young US fan watching Son in 18-19, maybe fall in love with Spurs, even though I grew up as a Man U fan. It kills me the day he leaves, boys. I think it'll kill all of us, to be honest, the day Son leaves.
Mm-hmm.
I think it'll affect me more than when Kane left.
Yeah. I agree. You look at it, he stayed to get the job done. And there you can't underestimate that achievement.
Brian, I was me and Sim have both given our answer on this one already, but for you, is Son a bigger legend at this club than Harry Kane?
Yes.
Yeah. It's gotta be, isn't it?
It's done by trophies, isn't it? Obviously Harry Kane will stand. I don't see anyone coming close to beating his record for a long, long time. Maybe not even in my lifetime or people's lifetimes. He will always be etched in history. Look at Jimmy Greaves. Jimmy Greaves is still a legend. I think that suddenly forgetting that trophy is what it's all about, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. And also,
I guess, go on.
Loyalty as well.
Has to be. Game is about glory.
The only difference between him in terms of how I feel in terms of him leaving, at least he had that trophy. So I think he can leave with the knowledge that he at least had that to kind of to leave with, in a sense, and have that legacy. Whereas Kane left having never did it, and that was something that kind of hurt. That he kind of left having felt like he can never win a trophy, and actually left not winning one, and maybe will never win one. That was that stung quite a bit.
The thing is with Son, the belief of winning that trophy never wavered from him because he didn't want to leave until he won that trophy. Where the belief for Kane, it did waver, didn't it?
Absolutely, it did. And he pushed twice to leave, obviously.
Yeah. Another one from Chameleon Eyes. Big up to you, and he says also big up the channel. Been watching you guys for years. Always tune into the channel for a watch along whenever we can't stream the game where I live, mate. You can even tune into a watch along when the game is live and just put them on mute.
Exactly. Where do you live, Chameleon? Big up to you. Let us know.
Although I will say the last time I did that was Spurs versus Rangers. And literally, I was getting fed up with listening to their commentary. So I turned you guys on and muted my commentary from Canadian TV. And you let me know that Rangers had gone 1-0 up before. I was just like, oh, for God's sake. But then in the same way, you let me know we'd equalised before I saw it. So it swings and roundabouts.
You got to try and match up. You got to pause us or something until we're matched up on the minutes.
I can't if you're in front of me.
Well, then, can you pause your TV?
Yeah, you can. If we're in front of you, then you pause us.
I can pause the watch. See, I when it comes to being smart, sometimes my brain don't compute, and that's the. There you go.
Malware with the super chat. Big up to you, Malware. Says, here comes the Frank. Tottenham hopes on his shoulders, shining so bright. Oh, he wants me to sing it, does he? Here comes the Frank. Do 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 do.
Look at you go,
Frank.
Man, there's going to be so many tunes coming up for him. So many songs.
Yeah. Brian, I haven't seen you this happy in a long time, mate.
Hey, honestly, I've been saying to people, or today I've been on stream, winning the trophy, obviously a few weeks ago, is the height of height. This is probably the most happiest day for a Spurs decision I've had. I can't, mate. This is the most excited I've ever been for a manager to come in, ever. Conte and Mourinho was, they're going to call the board out. Knowing that they weren't going to get backed with the money that they normally get to do what they do. This is for football. This is for the players that we got. I honestly am so happy. Like you said, I've been smiling all day and watching Frank content.
Yeah, everyone has been absolutely binging all the Frank content I've seen on social media. So many clips of him talking about doing this and that. I've seen everyone is very much on the Frank train, on the Frank hype train, getting because he's a great talker. So there's a lot of stuff you can look at and get really excited about in terms of the way he comes across and what he says.
The Frank content is elite, to be honest. His interviews and his tactical, talks and all this kind of stuff. It's just so great to watch, isn't it? Really insightful as well.
And so it just comes across as very, very authentic as well.
100%.
And there's been more and more people watching it as the story and as the progress of the appointment develops. So I was watching it beforehand from when I started wanting him before Ange. But so many people are like, oh, he's only Brentford. What has he won? Oh, my God, he has to sell players, low wages. But then people started watching the content. And a lot more people are saying, do you know what? I actually sat down and watched some of his podcast interviews, whatever, the way he talks about tactics. It's like, I'm on board. I'm on board. And this is honestly, this is really, really a big day for Tottenham, for the football side.
And you imagine what it's like now, and people are just looking at his Brentford content. Once he starts doing this in a Tottenham tracksuit, people are just going to flock in, aren't they?
Oh, big time. Big time. And you can see people saying, oh, he's not good. Listen, for every manager, there is a grey cloud, and that grey cloud is Daniel Levy and whether he'll back him. Here, a lot of people thinking he's coming here just because of the low wages, what he's done with a small budget. He's going to have a bigger budget to attract bigger players. He's never had a club with a pool like us. He's never had a club with a bigger budget than us. He will find some gems. He will do some Googling Danny Rose. But if he does, I'm going to be like, your track record speaks for itself. And he can now go for the players that he couldn't even dream of at Brentford. So it's exciting. And it will be a bigger budget. He may not get the big windfall that we all want him to have, but his budget will be at least double to what he has at Brentford, at least.
What I really like is just how ferocious his players are going forward. But it's actually a manager with a proper top defensive structure as well.
Yep.
He's going to make us so hard to beat once he gets proper grips with this squad, isn't he?
100%. 100%. You look at it, like I showed you the picture, in the year that Man City won the treble, he was joint top with Pep for points against the Big Six. This guy against the Big Six does well. Like you said, you were talking about like over the course of his time, it's not as strong as that one-off season, but it's better than what we've done recently.
Yeah, I think it goes like 3 wins against Chelsea, 2 wins against Man City, 2 wins against Man United, 1 against Tottenham, 1 against Liverpool, 1 against Arsenal. I mean, for a Brentford team over 3 seasons, that's pretty good going.
As you say, Brian, I was looking, it was in his first season, I think it was, in the Premier League. He had 12 games against Big Six, won 6 of them, drew 3 and lost 3.
Yeah, and his first game as a Premier League manager, he beat the Filth 2-0, didn't he?
He did. Long throw, that's when they were struggling the long throws, weren't they?
Who was the last person we had that could take a long throw? And is there one in the current squad? I can't.
It's got to be Stephen Freud, no?
Yeah, mate, there must have been someone since him.
I don't remember taking long throws. The tuber maybe did some.
Oh, Timothy, I just, like we said, I think you can see there's players there that are going to develop. I'll big up Jordan. Jordan asked me to big him up, so there you go. I think there's some players that are really going to develop here.
Jordan said Cotto did long throws. Stephen Carr definitely did, yeah.
That's mate. I heard you guys talking as well how important the set piece coach, I can't even speak now. Set piece coach. Mate, honestly, I'm delirious at the moment. I'm actually delirious. I think the set piece coach will come in. I'm going to stop saying that because I can't say it anymore. I think he'll come in. We know how good Vio was doing at one point. And like you boys have said all week, Brentford are very, very good at set pieces. It's a real threat to their game.
And also very good defending them.
Yeah.
Only conceded 2 last season from set pieces, apparently.
I feel like...
That's a mad stat. How can you only concede 2? Even like you usually over the course of a season, 3 go off someone's arse. You know what I mean?
Who was the second least?
Mate, I think do you remember the first season of Postecoglou? I think we conceded 4-3. I think we conceded a set piece every game for a few games, didn't we?
Yeah.
Number 19 is Man City with 5 goals conceded.
Right.
It's like I said, there will be some good development, and it's just exciting times. Variations of play. Seeing him in the media, like what you said, Benson, where he comes across so well. If you listen to him as a man, not just as a manager, he's unbelievable.
I feel like, we looked at Postecoglou last season or over the last 2 seasons, and everything that we've chucked at him as like a flaw or as like a criticism, all those things Frank does so well, really well in terms of adaptability, in terms of coaching. Even if some of these things aren't true, I'm talking about this is what the fans' narratives were adaptability, coaching, making players better, having a good defensive structure, all these kind of things. Frank is really good at, and that's what a lot of the fans gripes were with Ange over the past couple of years. And I was thinking about it, and this is what Spurs do, all the time, right? With after Poch, everyone's we need to get in a proper winner. We need to get in a proper winner. We go and get in Jose Mourinho, and then after the Jose Nuno Conte era is we need to get back to attacking football. We need to get back to attacking football. We get the most attacking manager we can possibly think of in Ange Postecoglou. I actually do genuinely think we've got it properly right now in terms of the balance.
I think you're right. Like I said, I will not have a bad word said about Thomas Frank. I'm coming for anyone that's having bad words said about him. He is going to develop. He is going to. I just think you look all around the pitch, you can see there's players there that are only that are going to only fit his system, are going to want to play. I think he's actually going to be able to. I don't think there's going to be the mass exodus we all thought there was either.
That's right. What I was thinking. Isn't that a bad thing?
Well,
we need players to leave. Oh, you mean because players aren't happy? That kind of exodus.
No, I mean I don't think the players are going to want to leave. Remember we heard
No, I agree with that, but also we do if we're going to make signings, we do need to make quite a few sales.
Let's talk about that because I was looking into the numbers earlier today, right? And we've got at this moment in time, without Phillips, without Vuskovic, including Tellin that, we've got, and more will be on the B list, though we've got a 24-man squad.
Can you have that graphic? Can you put it on screen?
Yeah, let me get it.
Frank, while he's getting that, Brian, do you think Frank is that good that he could manage a City or a Liverpool or one of the really top jobs?
We're gonna find out. We're gonna find out.
Why are you gonna find out? Do you back him that highly? Yeah, he could get a top job.
Yes. Yes. I honestly, I am. People will think I'm even being fake positive. I adore this guy. Everything he stands for, everything he does, I mean, I've seen so many people going, "Oh yeah, but he only got mid-table." All these things that people want to label at you. Oh yeah, but he didn't win the championship. He only went up through the playoff. The playoff is the richest.
No, those are all bullshit criticisms. I agree,
Yes,
but there is genuine, not criticism, but
he needs to get a chance. All these managers don't become top managers until they get a chance. All these people that say, "What's he won?" Well, Ange Postecoglou wasn't a winner till he won his first trophy. All these things that people are saying, I've come up with a terminology now. I actually think it's not this negativity towards Frank. I'm calling it Ange rage, like road rage.
There is literally negatives. I think most people.
Oh no, you. If you look close enough, you'll see it with people say, "Well," and it is. I don't think it would have made a difference if it'd been Xavi, if it'd been Glasner. The fact that it's not Ange, the anger in the way that this has been handled, and the fact he didn't get the chance, which to some point I understand, because of the way it was handled and winning a trophy and him breaking the curse. But to then go straight onto the new manager, who is everything everyone was saying, do you know what? If we had a better coach, these players need to be coached better. There's no coaching going on. Well, we get one. And then it's like, well, not him. Then I've heard, and this is no offense to the guy that said it in here, I've heard for the last 3 days, Frank is a yes man. How is he a yes man? How? Because he's worked with tight budgets and low wages. That's because Brentford have had to. I don't understand where he's a yes man. What? Because he had to sell Tony. They had to. Raya is how Brentford operate. Is how they're modeled to get bigger and better. Like Bournemouth right now. Is what's it? I can always forget the surname. What's the surname of Bournemouth?
Iraola.
Because he's had to sell who's they're going to sell Kirk as the ones you were speaking about. Is he a yes man? I don't get. We're just chucking things at Frank just because he's come from Brentford. He is a top coach. Go listen to Pep. Go listen to other. There's not a bad word said about this man, and I honestly cannot wait for people to see it.
I agree. But Brian, on a flip side of that, you always said about Pochettino how you don't want him back here.
Yep.
With Levy and stuff, and you've been dying for Frank for a number of years now.
Yep.
So why are you happy to have Frank here under Levy but not Pochettino?
Because I think with Pochettino, with his, if you look at it, since he's kicked on, he hasn't really done anything of much merit. All right, he won the league at PSG. Another thing like where people say with Ange for Celtic, anyone can go win the league with PSG. Went to Chelsea, finally started getting them, but I think his format's been found out. I think as well with the reason I also wanted big up. The reason I also wanted Frank as well is Frank comes in with fresh ideas, will change his formation. And like I said, it's all new, fresh. If Pochettino comes back with Levy, it's feet under the table, business as normal, and then just the thought of it going wonky. I've always said, if we had new owners, whoever they may be, like complete new owners, and they said we want to bring Poch back, I would totally be on board. Totally be on, not at the expense of Frank, if Frank's doing well, not just to go like Levy did with sacking Gray and bringing Hoddle. If we had new owners that came in and said, right, you are our guy, we're going to give you the keys to the castle, bring him home immediately, I'd be all for it. I just don't trust Levy around him. Just don't. Look at Paul Mitchell, gone for not being listened. It'll just be a rerun of it. And I think Frank is Frank's going to show people what people think of Poch, in my opinion.
Ash, welcome. How you doing, bro?
Yeah, all good, man. Can you not hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're loud and clear, bro.
Ah, cool, man. Yeah. What's going on, man?
You all aboard? All aboard the Frank Thomas the Frank engine?
Yeah, you know what? I've got concerns, I'll be honest with you. But I think he's going to be a good coach at Spurs, man. I do like facets of how he sets the team up, how he's quite flexible, he's adaptable, how he looks at each team slightly different. I like how he tries to get, every inch, so to speak, in terms of like set pieces, throw-ins. he's trying to find, you know, marginal gains on each game. How can he win? And he seems like he's like a kind of thinker type of man. Like he kind of he's more like, you know, how can I improve this? How can I take a step back, evaluate things, let the coaches do their thing, and then maybe I integrate. And then he's really good at, like, he's quite optimistic, so it's quite positive. Like I can hear in the way he talks. Seems like a likable person as well. So I've got no doubt that the players will warm to him, even though it will be a hard transition for some of them. But at the end of the day, these are paid professionals. Do you know what I mean? And they'll have to get on with the job regardless. I'm just thinking the step up between Brentford versus Spurs. That's where I have some of my concerns. So, for example, at Brentford, his remit was to survive when he first got there, and he speaks about, you know, how he was more front-footed and more attacking in the Championship, and then when he came to the Premier League and took the step up, he had to switch it up, and he respected the opposition, which I kind of admire, because he's not deluded and thinking, I can carry on, and this is like my philosophy. No matter what, we're going to stick to these principles. He was not actually, these opponents are better than the ones that I had before, and maybe I need to respect them and learn the league and learn about how my team will fit in this, you know, in this particular league. So I like that he took time, had 2 seasons where, you know, was trying to figure it out, and then eventually went to a more attacking style, which we saw last season, which was the 4-2-3-1, right? Which is not too dissimilar to what we're doing right now. Obviously, the difference between the 4-3-3 and the 4-2-3-1 is 4-2 more pragmatic. You've got 2 midfielders protecting that back 4, and the back 4 play like 4 centre backs more or less, where one of them is more of a fullback and pushes up, and they take turns to overlap, which then would help, you know, the forward players. And also looking at profiles, because he realized when he lost Rico Henry that, you know, he was losing the forward kind of wing back. And so when Lewis Potter came in, he was actually a winger. And so he joined the attack. And when he was what's going on, brains, what's going on? So when he joined the attack, it was like was it a 3-2-5, like in possession? So when you've got Lewis Potter attacking, he would make one of the midfielders drop into the defense, and they could dictate from like a fullback position. So I like the kind of nuance in that. And also, there was a time when he gets one of his midfielders to drop in the 2 centre backs and to make a back 3, similar to what Poch was doing with Eric Dyer. So those little throwbacks I kind of like. Do you know what I mean? Hey, Sonny.
Wait. Seriously, Sim.
Sonny looks like he's on his way out, bro.
Got to stop.
This is the 3rd time we've done this, Brains. It's the 3rd time.
Every time we're on the stream, we have the same t-shirt.
Were you not watching the stream before, Brains?
No. Just like, I'll just get rid of all the ones I've got that you've got. It's just not allowed to have the same t-shirt. It's ridiculous. Ash, that's proper rude.
Sorry, Ash, I didn't mean to carry on.
No, cool, man. No, because I'm thinking, like, I'm looking at Son and I'm like, boy, you know what? I think he's leaving, bro. I'll be honest with you.
Where's he going to go?
I don't know, but I feel like the club are going to move him on, bro. I'll be honest with you. I don't know where he's going to go, because I know he sent a message to Harry and was like, bro, we need to link up. I miss you, man, kind of thing. I know you guys saw that as well. So I don't know if I doubt Bayern will come in for him, but I'm sure like
we need to boost those club train numbers, bro.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah. But I think, you know what? You know, people saying Sonny's lost it. We need to move him on. We're doing too sentimental. His legs are gone, rare tear. How many goal contributions did he get last season in his poor season?
Premier League 17.
17.
Didn't he get the same as Eze? Like one less than Eze, maybe? And
yeah,
Eze...
I think you're right. I call you right, bro. I call you right. So even though people are saying he's done, he's washed, the numbers he's putting up, I can imagine Spurs getting rid of Son, for example, replacing him with Eze, and then people are like, oh yeah, we got Eze, but we just replace. I had in my head it was like Eze, Son, and another winger. But what they're gonna do for me is they'll take Son away and bring Eze and be like, yeah, there's your marquee signing. You see what I'm trying to say? I don't want to be tricked. I think we need Eze and another winger. I know you guys are fans of Tell, but I feel we've got Odobert already, who's raw, and then you've got Tell that's raw, and then you add Eze. But I just feel like if we're going into Champions League, we just need a little bit extra. I don't know if I'm being too ambitious
No, you're not.
Because I look at Man United, they're doing Cunha and they're doing Mbeumo. Do you know what I'm saying? And they're looking for a striker.
Gyökeres as well.
And Gyökeres. And we're saying, actually, you know what? Boom, Tell and a marquee. And I'm like, I don't know if that's the same. Like, I feel like if we're going to act like a big club, then we need to move like a big club, in my opinion. And I feel like it's the same thing what happened with Ange. You lost Kane. He had to deal with it. And I feel like Franks might have the same thing. He might lose Son and just have to deal with it. Do you know what I mean? I know it's not the same level, but I feel we need to get in that front line. That's where we suffered. I thought, even though we scored goals, I think that was a big, big problem. Like last season, in terms of creativity and scoring goals, I think we needed to do a lot better.
Do you think Frank's going to solve that problem?
I think he will improve a lot of players in that forward line in terms of them not playing out of their position. So you had a lot of players, for example, Son playing out wide, Johnson playing out wide, didn't make no sense. Do you know what I mean? And then affected it like Solanke, because Solanke's numbers dropped off because no one's supplying him. Do you know what I mean? He's not getting Semenyo. Semenyo at Bournemouth was supplying him, and he's scoring like 21 goals. This season, he's having to do a lot of the dog's work, and then, you know, I felt like Johnson was stealing all of his goals, man. I'll be real.
I actually think Ange got really like sold out by the amount of times we just didn't finish chances. If you think about how many games there was clear-cut chances missed, and it would have been like a 1-0 win, or like it would have been like the goal that made us gave it a 2-0, 2-1 win. So many of them. If you go through it from the start of the season, we just didn't have an out-and-out goal scorer. You know. So
you think Solanke underperformed last season massively? Then you would say he's a part of the problem.
Not even like fully, because when you don't have a player like that, the player like that then takes all those roles. Like, you don't have a player who's going to hold the ball up, who's going to drop in a half space and, like, you know, put three. You know, he could set up a few moves. He's going to do all that work, even just naturally. If you're on the pitch and you're of his ability and size, you're just going to naturally do that stuff, and that naturally doing that stuff is going to keep you out of the penalty box. And so how many times did the ball fall to someone in the penalty box and it wasn't an out-and-out striker? You know, it's
so just, like when you see players like we saw and like his role compared to what Solanke's doing, do you feel like Thomas Frank can improve Solanke how like we saw improved as well? Because obviously Weisa's all about the movement. It's all about getting into the box. He's all about playing centrally. And remember, he didn't start off as a central striker. It was Tony, but they moved Tony on, and they actually lost a player. And then Visa was playing wide. He's playing off the left, and then he's had to play centrally. And then you've got Mbeumo on the right, and they brought in Sade, who's on the left. So do you think, like, if we bring another forward, a wide forward in, that Solanke could do what Wisa potentially did and get more goals in the box? Or do you think that he hasn't got the skill set of a Wisa?
I think he'll benefit just from like the different angles that Frank ball works through, like the way it goes through the pitch is just, it's not just to the byline and cutbacks. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's through the pitch. It's like, you know, those diagonal runs and stuff, you know. So it's I think it's a little bit better, but you need strikers who can run across their defender and hit into the bottom corners, you know, like really good. And to be fair, Solanke isn't really that guy, you know, like the type of striker. No, you don't think he can run across the box and put balls in the back of the net? No, I think he can do diagonals. I just don't see him, and maybe just because we haven't seen him, kind of like just getting behind his defender and just hit the bottom corner.
Do you know what it is? On that right hand side, I think it's been a real issue all season. We've had Johnson out there, and then
I actually think Johnson can do that job better than Solanke.
No, I think Johnson. Yeah, but like you how Mbeumo
great finishes in his locker, it seems.
Johnson will be central.
even at Bournemouth, all his finishes were one-touch finishes or headers in the box. He never really, he didn't have to like finish a one-on-one into the side netting or hit it across the face to goal like with from a tight angle. Those aren't the kind of goals he scores. Solanke.
But can he do the lone striker role, Johnson? You reckon, or it has to be in a 2 up top?
No, he can't do the lone striker.
No, I wouldn't give him the lone striker role.
Yeah, he hasn't got the physicality to do the lone.
So the only time he can play central is in like a 3-5-2 kind of thing.
Or a 3.
You know what? It depends because if we're talking about Weiser's movement, you're saying Johnson's got movement actually. So you've got a point where maybe he can, if we're modeling off Weiser's style of play, maybe Johnson can do that, like run into the box, arrive late, arrive in certain areas centrally. But I just think the way Solanke plays, he's the one that when I think it's Nathan Collins, he hits those balls over the top. Yeah, he kind of hits the diagonal. And then I think what it is, you'll see Solanke, he will hold that ball up. He'll be the first point of contact. I don't think Johnson can do that in the 9 role, if that makes sense. I think he would need a player like Solanke next to him. And then he runs off him or he wins the second ball. But even winning the second ball from Johnson, he's not that kind of physical player. So I think where we went wrong last season and where Mbeumo's slightly different, I'm not saying Mbeumo's come Spurs, but in Frank's system, Mbeumo was like Salah, kind of hugged that touchline, but then sometimes he would come in field. And when he did come into the field, he was on the edge of the box, he would cross. And those crosses going diagonal, they're hard to defend against. That's when I see Solanke. Yeah, the in-swingers, that's it. That's what you see Solanke.
Here's just a question. Why do you think that last season Maddison scored quite a few goals as a false 9?
Yeah, that's right.
Why didn't Solanke? Why wasn't he making those runs? Like if I'm a striker and I'm in the center with 2 out wide,
he's occupying the player. He's occupying.
That's why Maddison's able to do it because he's ghosting in behind.
He's posted in behind. He's running from deep.
As a striker, strikers are naturally just egotistical maniacs who just want goals. Like he should just want goals, like it really is your lifeblood.
You know what I've noticed when you watch Brentford compared, one thing I definitely noticed compared when you watch Brentford compared to us, and I think this will definitely help Solanke, is I feel like we get to the final third and our first thought is obviously get to the byline and try and do the cutback or try to play it in through the centre. It's almost like we cross the ball as the last resort. It's like if all else fails, then you cross it. If you watch how Frank plays, they get to the final third, a little elf, bam, straight in every time, straight into the box.
More confident, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like a first thing. It's like a first point of call. Get that cross in, like do it as early as possible. They get a lot more crosses in. They do it a lot earlier. They get to that final third, lay it back to the fullback, whatever, and get it in.
Fourth highest in the Premier League in terms of.
That's what I mean. And you watch them play. They have no second thought about getting that ball, and we're very hesitant last season about crossing it. It's almost like I said, it's a last resort. It's like if all else fails, then we'll cross it. And by then, they've got players back. It's all they're set. Also, it's a lot harder to take advantage of it.
In terms of shots versus goals per ratio, I think Brentford had, I think it was the second highest or the first highest in terms of they had like the least amount of shots, but they converted the most and scored the most goals out of them. So that tells me that when Frank's playing his style of football, he's very analytical and he doesn't waste chances. He's not wasteful. So the chances he creates are bigger chances compared to what we had last season. Do you know what I mean? I think
we're focused on just trying to create as many chances as possible. He's focused on quality.
Exactly.
I think what you were saying as well just before about the pulling the ball back, I think this is why there's some serious weight behind the Semenyo deal. Because he is the exact opposite. He just runs to that byline, doesn't he? And is just getting them in very, very quickly. I think this is.
He shoots a lot. He's a big shooter.
He is as well. I think we need one of those direct wingers that just get the ball and literally, like Chrissy Waddle used to do. For people of my age that will remember, Waddle used to just go for that and then just. That's what we need. Like Gareth Bale in full flow. Not saying we're getting a Gareth Bale, but a guy that would just run for that byline and get it in. And that's what we've been missing.
He does, but he's wasteful. His shots, his volumes of shots.
Yeah, exactly. He's wasteful. Agree with you.
He's super high compared to how much like shots he actually hits on target.
Mm-hmm.
So, but the thing is, when Mbeumo first came, yeah, he's very powerful. Like, but when Mbeumo came, and I saw the not documentary, but I saw a piece with Thomas Frank when he was talking either to Sky Sports or I can't remember what it was, but it was some type of YouTube video I saw with Thomas Frank. And he was talking about why the shot volume is so high and so why they get so many shots on target. And I think they're second in terms of shots on target in essential areas where they create the chances. And he said the reason why that is because he said if you shoot from outside the box, you've got less chance of scoring a goal. But when you're closer to the box, then he said if you're on your weaker foot and you're slightly off balance, he doesn't want you to take that shot. He'd rather you know, balance yourself, get onto your stronger foot, and then shoot. Or if you're at this particular angle, and so you could hear the coaching in him. Like, and I said, "Raw, I can see what Mbeumo."
Is that not just logical?
It is logical, but for whatever reason, you say it's logical. You say it's logical, but these footballers
don't take a shot from outside the box. Weak foot. I mean, that should be common knowledge.
No, but I've seen players snatch at shots. I've seen.
Yeah, go on. Sorry, I'm still there.
You know, I've seen Mbeumo, not Mbeumo. I've seen Bissouma shoot when the shot's not on. Do you know what I'm saying? I've seen Bentancur shoot when the shot's not on. I've seen loads of our players. Sarr, prime example. Yeah, Sarr. I've seen him shoot when he like. Do you know what I mean? So like, it's common sense. It's common place.
We also criticised our players last season for not shooting enough in those.
It's one and the same problem. So a lot of the time when that kind of stuff happens, it's when a team's not getting shots off and a manager's going, get shots off, and then they all start like they freak out. They don't. It's not like solid information. It's like a manager actually saying, don't, if you're out of shape, if it's not on the right foot, like just recycle, don't do that there. Like it's about shot percentage, you know, and that kind of stuff actually gets into your head going, actually this manager actually rates my shot, he just doesn't want me to waste it, you know. So it's he was saying that he was saying like there were certain times when certain players are making shots and he was like, they're being wasteful, he needs to be at this angle. And I could hear the element of coaching when he was talking about that, and I was like, aha, this could be like the minimal gains that people and professionals are talking about. Do you know what I mean? But in terms of Semenyo, 70 million is wild. Bro, I'll be honest with you. I don't know if Levy's going to pay that, bro. I'll be real.
No chance.
And Eze's a difficult one.
He is coming in for 70 million. That's going to be your Son replacement as well, pretty much. Like,
that's it. And then I don't expect many other players like 70 million Semenyo and then tell what 30-40 million. You know, Jordan is a menace. Jordan does not stop, brother.
Shay McLeod.
You don't know about your movies, bro. You don't know about your movies, man.
I've never had that one before.
Brains. Are you bang on the Frank train now? Where's your head at with it all?
And before you answer, Brains, I've got my solidarity boomerang. So
but where's your didgeridoo? Yes. No, it's like I think he's a great manager. It's not like I find it just. This might be a controversial thing to say, but it is like midnight, so I may as well say it. But I just think that if you watched what Ange did, and then you were ready to move on in a week's time, I don't think you're a true Spurs fan. Or you're just so caught up in the.
I'm not a true Spurs fan. Yeah, I'm not having that.
Or you're just.
I'm not having that at all.
It's like how I just don't understand how people were so eager to move on from this guy. It's like, and I was calling for him to be out for most of the season, but once someone proves you wrong, you can't just stick your fingers up to them. Like, you've got to go, well, look, now I am in service of you. Like, you proved me wrong. You are the man. I will now listen to you. And so that's kind of where my headspace was at. And I just really wanted to just still enjoy the fact that we're champions of the Europa. And that just seems like it doesn't even matter, like it didn't matter. We're two or 3 weeks on. It just feels like it didn't matter. We're now getting beaten over the head for being Spursy for sacking the first coach to bring us.
Oh, listen to them.
In all these years.
Listen to them.
But
those same fans that are battering you wanted Ange to stay.
Exactly.
Yeah. But what I would say, like once the smoke of all that, kind of like sorrow in a way, once that clears, I do like Thomas Frank. I've always liked him as a manager. He's inventive. Madison will not be sitting on the side going, it's always the same thing with this guy. Like he's got playbook. He's analytical. All the things that I think make a good coach, and he's not got an ego. Like, and the question I was going to ask to you guys, I think a great coach can take players who are not that good and make them really play well, right? Mm-hmm. But the best coaches can take any players, good, bad, big ego, and make them play like a team. This is the problem, like when you get to the upper echelons of world football. I don't think he needs a lot of signings. I think he could take this team right now and get them 8th and 7th and 6th. I don't think he needs anything. So, and I think that's what keep going. I think that's what the remit is. I think we've won a Europa League. It's got the monkey off Levy's back. He's thinking, good, this has bought me a little bit of time. No one's going to be calling from ahead. Get Frank in. He'll get us consistent, so people won't be angry about the league anymore. Instead of like what you should do is get Frank in and give him a proper team. Give him 2 really good teams. Like the up and coming and really good players are your second team, and the marquee players where you add an Mbeumo and you add like an Eze, and that's your like, and you have a goal with those with that. But I just don't see that's. And so my question to you guys would be, he can take this team now and improve it, and we will see way better football. We will, and we'll see better goals, and you'll see players just because he understands confidence. He understands how like the right information. The Liverpool second leg, and sat in a press conference and said it was just a bit of misinformation. The lads didn't get across what we were trying. And it's like, whoa, at this level of football, you're telling me that these professional players went on a pitch and didn't get the right information across? It was like some of them just didn't get the right, we were supposed to press. And it's like, that's not going to happen with Thomas Frank. That's not the way he runs his ship. So it is going to seriously improve. But the ambition is what I want to see. But my question is, do you guys think he comes in and just makes this team better? But do you think if you gave him, like say you gave him a Xavi Simons and an Eze, can he work? Do you think it would work with him on players, big ego players? Could he work with big ego players and make it do well? Or would he start to underperform?
And I think that's what he's talking about, the egos. He doesn't want those big egos in the team, I don't think.
Yep.
So Ben, do you think then he would probably kind of look away from big kind of marquee signings then?
Well, I think you can have a big marquee signing without having big kind of like dickheadish egos on the team though, can't you? Because I mean, you look at our biggest player and our biggest legend, Sonny. He doesn't have that massive ego. You know what I mean?
So that's a diamond in a rough. That though, that is.
Well, Eze's similar. He's a good. He's a good Christian guy that sticks very, very close to his beliefs. He's what he does. Players of Eze's level, I think he can do wonders with. Obviously, you never know going up and up and up and up to the big players. But I completely agree with you, Brad. I literally think we need 3 players. Yeah. Three Premier League or Champions League ready players. That's all he needs. I think the days of buying.
In what position are you saying? Are you saying like defender, midfield, and attacker? Like, or is it specifically
defensive midfielder, right winger, and I keep saying left back. And the only reason I say left back, I want proper competition for destiny. Because I don't want to see Spence playing right, then left, left, then right. I think we need 4, like we did with Pete Poch. they're the three, and I reckon the rest he can develop for the first season.
What are you saying? Kyle Walker-Peters come back, yeah? Homegrown.
I think that's as Ben and Sim were saying with the shows we did. I think that's a necessity signing, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this because I'll bring up this graph here. I put it in the group chat before, but I want to know your thoughts on it and how we make it actually work in this transfer window, because we've got a squad of 24. We can only have a squad of 22 because we've only got one club trained player. So who we need to sell? How many do we need to sell to
So we
21.
can sell...
No, why 22? Am I miscounting?
What?
Is it 24 minus?
It's 25.
25 minus 3.
3.
Okay, fine.
So we sell Dragusin, and obviously, no, I'm joking now. Well, we sell Richarlison. We sell
we need to sell 2 players just to break even.
Son
and then anyone
and Richarlison.
Yeah, but that's just to break even. We can't add more players into that.
Say it again.
I think Thomas
Basuma
Frank,
as well, yeah. Basuma goes,
I think Frank gets a tune out of Basuma. I think we've got
to be ruthless.
Ash, what I'm saying is, if 2 players go, that's the squad to take us into Europe. We need to sell more than that if we want to bring in.
So that's what I'm saying. Basuma, Richarlison, Son. That's 3 players now.
That's one signing you've got.
And then what? I need to sacrifice another 2. Is that what you're saying?
Another 2 to get another 2 signings, yeah.
What, can we not sell Davies? Is that
Davies, yeah.
We just gave a new contract, but yeah, we can sell him.
Yeah, but that means we can sell him for more, no?
Yeah.
Then we sell Højbjerg as well. That's where we sell Højbjerg.
That's irrelevant.
Højbjerg wasn't part of the squad.
Oh yeah, he wasn't. No.
It's the squad you're looking at right now.
What about? I did the only goalkeeper, Austin. I saw we've got other goalkeepers we can sell, no?
Kinski and
Vicario.
All right, cool. So Austin, can we not?
Forster and Whiteman are gone.
We can't sell Austin.
Yeah, he's club trained.
Yeah, if we sell him, our squad drops down to 21.
All right, so we're gonna have to be ruthless and
unless you don't activate Richarlison.
Yeah, you don't activate Tell.
No Tell, no Richarlison, no Basuma, no Son.
That's 4. So
and you got Davies.
And that's 5. So that's 3 signings you've got yourself.
There you go. Done.
So that means you need one left winger. If you're doing that, you need 1 striker.
Well, you need 2. If you're letting go of Tell and Son, you need 2 left wingers, really, don't you?
And there's no Werner as well.
No Werner.
Yeah. So I'll take 2.
So 2 of your 3 signings are left wingers.
No, well,
maybe
I think one winger could play. I think one winger could play left or right, like a Semenyo. Semenyo can cover both wings, left and right, and then we play like a centre back that can play both left back and centre back.
So Semenyo,
I guess Romero could be a guy leaving as well. To be fair.
Yeah, sorry, Romero, of course. Yeah, Romero.
Semenyo is a Branthwaite and a CDM. How can we fit them in? We need like that.
I'm guessing the guys you've marked in bold, you've marked for sale, you've got they're for the
those are the ones potentially leaving. I've put
Yeah, so I think we need like a left-sided centre back, personally, but one that can play left back as well, or could play in the back 3.
Well, Van de Ven can play left side of the back 3 and left back.
Can he play left wing back?
I think so.
You reckon?
I mean, he's faster than most.
He played it for Netherlands. He played there for Netherlands, so I don't see why not.
He scored tonight.
Yeah, he
did. Goal and assist.
Assist as well.
So what position was that?
In an 8-0 win against Malta.
What position was that? What did he play? Do you know?
I think left back.
There you go. There's a problem. You know what I'm saying? So I'd sign a left-sided centre back. Do you know what I'm saying? I'd sign a player like the player that's linked with Brighton, Boscali. Have you heard of him?
Boscali.
Yeah, Boscali. Yeah, he plays. I think he plays for PSV or Feyenoord. I can't remember. Is it Feyenoord? I was getting them mixed up.
PSV. PSV.
Yeah, PSV. If you see his assists and his goals, crazy.
Isn't Luka Vuskovic coming into this squad?
He's a right-sided centre back, isn't it? But they're saying that he might not be ready, so that he might need another loan.
looking by these club the numbers alone, I don't see how we fit in Vuskovic or Phillips. Well, Phillips, I don't see it.
They're really young though, aren't they? Like Vuskovic is like 17 still, right? Doesn't he? What is he? What?
I don't know if he counts. I don't know if he counts as on the B list. He's 18 now.
He can't because he hasn't been at the club for a certain amount of years or months.
Oh, right, yeah.
Well, you've also got when you're talking transfers as well. There's the two players that obviously he did want at Brentford but couldn't go over the line, and there's Bakayoko and Nusa. So maybe now he goes back and obviously you
me with tweets, man, with Bakayoko. I swear, I was ready to go mental when I saw that.
So maybe he goes back in for that. I mean, maybe who knows?
Yeah,
who knows who he wanted and couldn't get at Brentford that he might want over the line.
We're linked to a player. Is it called? His name's Nen.
Yeah, we were talking about him before.
All right, yeah. So he plays for Salzburg and RB Salzburg in Austria. 22 years old, and he scored like 14 goals. I think he got about 3 or 4 assists last season. And I think Langer's looked at him and think, yeah, maybe he could do a job if we're not able to get.
How old is he? 14.
22.
22. A bit old.
Question for you, Ash. Forget signings for a sec. Given the current squad, who do you think are going to be the winners and the losers of Frank coming in?
I think Porro. I think the doggy will be the winners.
I think Spence would be amazing under Frank.
I think the reason why I say doggy is because I think a doggy will play like the wing back, the one that goes up and down, a bit like Potter does for Brentford. So I can imagine him.
He doesn't do. He doesn't need to have a back five for wing backs, doesn't he? He keeps the other guy.
Yeah. So I can imagine Porro being the one that sits back a little bit deeper, and he's the one that's going to play those balls over the top or switches to play into the flanks. He's going to be like the Nathan Collins. So I could see those two kind of benefit out of the system. Johnson. I'm not.
That's a sentence I never thought I'd hear. Porro is going to be our Nathan Collins. I just never thought
in terms of like directness, but yeah, look, that's how I see it anyway. That's how I profile.
So you think the fullbacks, Doggy and Porro, are going to be the big winners?
Yeah, because I've heard him in a press conference rating Porro. He was like, he's like Trent. He's like a Trent Arnold. So he clearly seen him and he rates him. He spoke about a few other players like the midfield. He spoke about, but I think because he wanted Johnson before, he may have a plan for him. And what he did with Sade, I'm starting to think maybe he might utilize Johnson because he's right-footed. He might use him cutting in onto his right foot.
I've noticed that. I was going through a lot of his lineups, and he never ever has a right or left footer on the right or the left. Always inverted.
Always inverted.
Even when Wester was a winger, he was always on the left, never on the right. Sade always on the left.
Exactly. So that's what I'm thinking.
Like that when he comes back in a year's time.
Yeah. So I'm not saying for sure, but looking at that evidence, like what you did, I'm saying maybe Johnson in that position as a forward rather than a winger. I think he might be utilized and he might get a lot of joy out of him because that's a player he identified before. So I'm
actually talking about, he went for Brennan Johnson. He also went for Archie Gray, right? Just before we signed him.
He did.
The plan is for Archie.
But I just, what it is, because and I was saying this at the start, and you said, what do you think about Thomas Frank? Are you on board? And I said, yeah, I'm on board, but I have my concerns. I think his remit was to survive. And maybe Archie Gray, he could have used him a little bit more in the midfield because the level of expectation isn't as high. Is at Spurs.
How he does a double pivot?
I've seen a double pivot. Yeah, I've seen that. So,
but they play such risky football. Their double pivots set a lot of kind of fakery going on, but they both show. They both come into congested areas to show, even though maybe the plan is that neither of them are going to get it, but they do show, and then they do get the ball a lot of the time, and they're so good at moving the ball quick and just one touching and move and play on. But I'm telling you, he's going to have to drill the way they play out and how they play centrally. They kind of make wide space because their double pivot goes so central, and then people come in, and it seems like the illusion of so much wide space. But I can just see, just from like the little bits of time, maybe it's unfair on Archie, because he was obviously tired. He was thrown in the deep end. He's going to have to train all their midfield, whoever the team are, they're going to be like the double pivots, to like know how to hit that frank ball. And also, by the way, for a while, we thought Ange was a bit crazy because obviously that was a defensive frailty. But like, we are going to lose a lot of goals early because there's just going to be so much mistakes in that playing out initially.
Yeah. I just think with Archie Gray, I look at his physicality, his frame. He's not quite there for me yet. And I know that, well, I don't know, but I've heard the rumors that we are looking for a number 6. We are trying to look for a player. So that would suggest to me that maybe Archie Gray, because remember, we've got Bergvall as well as Bentancur. So now I'm thinking, where does Archie Gray fill into that? I know we've got multiple competitions, but I still see maybe Archie Gray going out on loan potentially.
Do you think maybe you can unlock another level in Sarr with Sarr now maybe not having as much responsibility to be in the final third as much as he was?
He still just has a bit of a heavy touch. He's a bit clumsy at times.
Passing as well, slightly off. But I think he's a player he could improve, though. I do think so. But I agree with you, Brains, man. With Sarr, and I think that's why they're looking for another midfielder. We'd be linked to that.
We have a midfielder who you can see how he does his double pivot, right? It's not really a vertical pivot. It's not like there's a strict double pivot. It's a classic double pivot. Like, do we have, other than Bissouma and Bentancur, but Bissouma he's a huge risk, unless his confidence got up, unless he got a real tune. Bentancur is maybe the only one I can see who can be in a Frank's system as a double pivot.
Bergvall, you don't think Bergvall?
Bergvall could, but I would like to see Bergvall.
I think they're all going to be fighting over the same position. Bergvall, Bentancur, and maybe Sarr. They'll all be fighting over one double pivot. And I think the new 6 or the other midfielder coming in, they will have their place, if that makes sense. Because
isn't it nice to hear that competition? Isn't it nice for once to actually think there's going to be genuine competition for places? They're not going to know what tactics are going to be played per game, and it's just going to keep them on top of their game to fit into each system. I do think Sarr's going to come on leaps and bounds with him.
So you think it's going to be Bentancur, Sarr, Bergvall, Gray as the midfielders, and Bissouma move on, and then bring in one proper skilled 6.
Yes.
Surely the play is to bring in a João Palhinha, 29, 30 years of age.
The thing is, though, with Palhinha on the ball and his movement, I like defensively, yes, like, him winning the ball back as a destroyer, excellent. But his disciplinary record is atrocious. I think when he came back,
but we need a bit of that, don't we? We need a bit of that nastiness.
Yeah, no, I hear it. But I'm just saying, like, in terms of playing out from the back, is he a player that's going to be able to? I don't know. I've just got questions on
Ash,
his on-the-ball acumen.
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah,
I understand what you're saying, but do you think specifications of the 6 that we were thinking about under Ange now needs to change? Now we've got Frank.
I do hear that.
And it's maybe the pressure on the ball for the 6 that we anticipate isn't going to be as bad.
I really do think we need a technical 6. I really do, man.
I'm not saying technical, but maybe we were thinking like you need like a Rodri, basically, and now
of course. I hear you.
So you still have to get the ball on the half turn and spread it quickly.
Exactly. I don't see Palhinha on the half turn.
He was fine at Fulham.
He was starting at Fulham, but I think Sander Berger was a better fit for what they needed, if I'm being totally honest. I think he's
Palhinha is more like a 6 who's not really in a double pivot. He's more like a standalone, strong 6, right?
He did play in a double pivot in Fulham, but you're right.
Like, you need someone like the actual build and the kind of way that Bissouma can play actually should work. It's just we're now like scarred on the kind of, when Bissouma loses his head. We've seen that so much. Maybe that's like when Davies went on that show and he said about, you know, the roles that every player has. It's like, it's so anyone can do anything and it's not defined. And maybe that was bad for Bissouma. Maybe it was just like he didn't really, you know, maybe Frank puts an arm around him and goes, this is very specifically what we want you doing. You've got the attributes to do it. We've seen it. This is what you're going to do. Maybe that kind of man management does get a tune out of someone like this.
I agree with you, Brains. The only problem we have with that is he's in his last year of his contract, and do we give him a new deal?
Yeah, gotta be ruthless.
Ash, what do you think of my theory that one of the winners could potentially be Kinski?
One of the what? Wingers?
Winners.
Oh, winners.
I did think
wingers?
I did think you said the same as Ashman. I thought I heard what Ashman did.
Yeah, no, Kinski definitely, because his short to medium passes is vital to where they like to play out from the back in terms of clipping balls into the wings, in terms of like just sometimes going long, sometimes playing it short. He varies it quite a bit, and I think shot stopping. Vicario, obviously, he's that guy. But in terms of like playing out from the back with the feet, and I think the first line of attack is defense, meaning that how they build up, that will be essential to how Frank wants to play. And him being Scandinavian as well, I could just see.
Because I feel like with Vicario, right, in an Ange system, the reason why obviously you need someone who's like calm on the ball and stuff, but he only really asked Vicario to basically play short passes to the centre backs. Essentially, that's all he really asked him to do. Which you need someone who is comfortable on the ball to do it, but you don't need someone. But with Frank, he's much more. He asked Raya Flecken much more to go long more often, play a lot more medium kind of length passes into the striker, into these things. So if you're asking Vicario to do that more often, maybe he might think Kinski's more suited to that kind of thing.
Yeah, no, I agree, man. I think
do you not think that like Vicario just turns around and goes, I'm out here then? Like, are he just
he better get better at his passing?
For sure, he'll say that.
Yeah.
But Brains, what do you reckon about this? I was speaking with Sim and Brian, I think last night or the night before. If Sonny was to leave this summer, who's going to be named captain?
That's a tricky one. Kind of play. I think you've got to add in that as well. Romero could be gone as well. So you could be losing two of the leaders. Technically, you could lose
Bentancur.
Maybe Bentancur. It depends on the type of. It depends on he's got a good relationship with everyone, but
Maddison's meant to be the captain, but I don't know.
You would think Matters, but I don't know if this
Why not?
season.
Why can't it be Matters? Why?
He's just not that guy, man. Club captain. Are you serious, Maddison? I just can't see it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if he
was the vice captain. He was the one that kind of helped us to get to the final. No, I don't know. He seems like he talks a lot as well. He talks a lot on the press conferences.
He's got that leadership ability to grab the team by the scruff of the neck and drive us forward, man.
I like having a defender as a captain. I don't think you should ever put strikers or attackers. We should just be so focused as strikers as scoring goals. Like, you shouldn't have the kind of weight on, defenders see the whole game in front of them. They really should. They give information all the way up the field.
Yeah, but what defender would that be then? If Romero's not there, who's going to be?
I think Mickey van der Ven. I know Mickey van der Ven is a really nice kid right now, but he's got a bit about him.
I don't think he's got enough seniority about him. I don't think he's
not yet. No, yeah, but I think you can empower someone like that. But it is. You kind of want someone to have a bit of experience and muscle behind them, and
that's why I say Bentancur. He's done it.
Bentancur stays 100% probably Bentancur.
Yeah, he's won the cups and whatnot. But I would have said if Kulusevski wasn't injured,
who's it for? Was it Norgard?
Yeah, Norgard.
Norgard's captain Brentford. Yeah,
Norgard. I would say if Kulusevski wasn't injured, I'd say Kulu. But because he's not going to come back to Jan-Feb, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
Then you can't really name him captain if he's not going to be on the pitch. So I
think where do you see him sticking in, Kulusevski? Where's his best position under Frank?
He could do he profiles a bit like a Membremo, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? The way he he doesn't beat his man, but he creates separation. Does that make sense? Because Mbeumo doesn't. He's not a take-on merchant. He's not a man. Mbeumo's not a man that beats 3 or 4 players like that. Where he's more like a Salah. Do you know what I'm saying? So I see Kulusevski doesn't really dribble past 3 or 4 players. He's not tricky like that, but he's able to hold on to the ball. So he's able to get the ball up the pitch, create that separation, and on his left foot, he likes to kind of invert quite a lot. And then in that pocket of space, just on the edge of the box, that's when you can see maybe Kulusevski, you might be coached to maybe, you know, do the through balls or cross the ball diagonal into the box, do it slightly different. And then maybe he might be asked to shoot a bit more. So maybe it might be, Frank might have a different role for him. But at the same time, yeah, I could see him in a 10 if you know, we don't bring a 10 in. And Madison's
I think Kulusevski is going to have a tough year, man, because like, you know, when you're out for the whole first few months and then you got to come back after, so January's happening, so if there's any issues, they're going to be looking for a player. When you're out for that amount of time, you got to do so much rehab. Like, he won't come back like his best self. It's going to be so hard to come back as your best self when you miss that amount of game time. You're probably looking at Kulusevski for next season, you know, like to miss like half the season and then come in and try to dislodge players who are probably on form. And, you know, that's a tough thing.
You saying Andrew mash him up, yeah? Possibly just beat him up, man. Played him, run him into the ground.
What are you saying? What are you saying?
That's what I'm saying. One of our best players.
Yeah, keeping it
Did you get that?
Did you say, Brian?
I said Stephen is keeping a boomerang with him. Close. He's probably in his bedroom. He's got a koala bear, teddy bear. He's probably got a bit of Australian artifacts everywhere in his house.
Send us
behind that door. There's a big Ange shrine.
So wait, guys, what do you think we need to prioritize more then? Do you think we need to prioritize the left or the right hand side? And do we need another 10 if you guys don't rate Maddison?
I rate Maddison. I just don't rate him as a captain.
All right, cool. So what do you think we need to prioritize more than left or the right?
I still think we do need a 10 though, because Maddison, how many seasons has he like missed a lot of it from injury? You need a good 10. You really do.
That's why you need to prioritize Eze coming in, because he can play the left wing, he can play the 10. Yeah. You know, versatile player that can, you know, go across both roles.
I don't understand why he's not like signed already, because whoever's going to coming in, we know that we're going to be moving Son on at some point. You need, you know, he should have been signed already.
I think once he's officially confirmed and Spurs announce it, and that Spurs will start making ripples and moves ready for when the next window opens. And could you imagine if Thomas Frank is the man that finally gets Eze over the line? Like, we've got the deal agreed to pay for it. He's agreed to come. All these fans that may be to and fro in, can he get the players? Can he do this? What a signing that will be, as a, here you go, this is what I'm going to bring you.
Yeah. I just think
it's a game changer signing, because you look at like the squad. If you just run through the Brentford squad, you're kind of like, okay, you know, Damsgaard, all right, you know, like Mbeumo, you know, Vissa, like, but you're looking at, you go, this guy's done so good with that squad. And then you look at our squad, and if we get Eze, you know, and then if maybe a Mbeumo or just one other big player comes in, you're starting to go, okay, because then there's no crap players. There's even our worst player at that point. You're kind of going, he could become a great player under him. You know, the whole squad looks different. But if you leave Eze out, and you know you can rely on Son, say, or you know, and you're kind of looking around, Kulusevski's not there. You start to look at like it's how one player can take away all your problems in a way. You know, because Eze can play on both sides and he can play in the center. Do you know what I mean?
I think Son's going, man. Personally, I think he's going.
Do you not think that's a mistake, Ash?
Yeah, I do slightly, because I don't think we'll replace him properly. I think Eze will come in as the Son replacement, but like I said, I think Tel will come in as well, and then you've got
Eze's like a completely different profile to Son, isn't he?
Yeah, 100%. I think so, and I feel like we need an extra player on that right hand side, unless you're asking Johnson and Odobert to do all the legwork on that right hand side. So
I would have been really interested in seeing Son play for Frank.
Right.
Because that little diagonal through ball he does to the outside forward to come in.
Travella. Yeah.
Like,
he put that in his locker.
That Son's bread and butter. Like
I just want to see Son. Number one, I want to see Son play with Eze. That's what I would like to see. And I'd like to see Son closer to the goal, not out wide where he's asked to do 1v1 like wing play.
Mm-hmm.
So
because
if
you make me look at that squad and I go, who in the current Spurs squad has a killer instinct in striking and is an out-and-out goal scorer, I'm saying Son over anyone else. And it's just crazy to me that he didn't really get used in that way under Ange, because it's like just because of the system, he was so needed to have that system of get to the byline, cut back. But with a manager who does play the kind of diagonal balls through the kind of through the half spaces to get in the outside guys in, I would have thought that's like ideal for Son.
Yeah.
So
you know what it is.
Obviously, he's the biggest wages, and if you really want to bring in Mbeumo or people like Eze, you got
to sacrifice a wage, but we shouldn't be like that. If we're going to be like a big club, wages shouldn't be an issue. Do you know what I mean? We need to upscale a lot of those players and bring the big wages in to bring up the quality. But I just think that with Son, if you look at Salah's not really asked to do as much defensive work as he was, when he was, younger. Now he's older. I think Slot's using him slightly different, making him run slightly less. And they've negated the system to allow Salah to thrive. And he allows him at times to play more closer to the box, more infield. And I feel like if you did that with Son, you said, look, you don't have to defend as much. We're going to kind of utilize you closer to the goal. Then you might have Son more with 1v1s because Son's going to be able to make those runs into the channels, runs into the box. However, my caveat to my own theory is that maybe we do want a player that can press, that can be aggressive, because in Frank's system, he wants at least two of the players to be aggressive. And I think in terms of defending in the attacking third, I think Brentford were I think they were first or second in terms of winning the ball back in the attacking third. So that would mean to me, if Son's not pressing effectively and he can't win that ball high up, maybe we do need to upgrade in that position. Do you know what I mean? If we want to get,
I'm looking at the stats.
I think Brian just needs to go.
Yeah,
so I'm just
I need to go have my dinner. I need to rest my face as well with all this smiling today. I've just had a message from my cousin who's watching in America. So he's just WhatsApp me as well, so I'm going to have a chat with him. But it's time for dinner. Dinner tonight. I'm not too sure, Sim. Ilana's had a hard day's work, so it's me on the air fryer. So probably some junk food, chicken burgers or something. No elegant food for me tonight. Air fryer food. But listen, everybody in the chat, have a wonderful evening, day, whatever. Sim, Ben, love you dearly, as you know. Ash, Brains, always good to see you. I will say leave you out, but most importantly, Thomas, Frank, Thomas, Frank, Thomas, Frank.
Big up, Brian. Go on, Sim.
Well, I was saying, I'm looking at the stats of last season, and for attempted dribbles for the whole squad, that is, Brentford are third from bottom, and Tottenham are actually first in terms of attempted dribbles. But in terms of dribble percentage, we're first in the whole league for attempted, and we're bottom of the league for dribble percentage. So we're basically trying a whole load of dribbles that are actually not working.
Failed model.
Well, not only are we the worst, but also we dribble the most, and we're the worst at it. Essentially,
your gaffer told him to do that. Sorry, go on, carry on.
Give it to him.
My point being is clearly Brentford are gonna. Clearly Frank is, well, judging by how he went and did a Brentford, he's going to make us dribble a lot less. Essentially,
yeah, he's more of sharp passing, right?
So now he plays long passes. I think he's like 4th or 5th in terms of long passes in the league. So that would mean to me that we'd see more players running into the box, getting on the end of things, because they want to play direct, quick, fast football, get into the box. So you need your players essentially higher up the pitch, and you need them, just to.
Is he going to do that, or is he going to build a system that is kind of adept to the
that's
players?
the thing. That's what a good coach
we don't
does.
know what he's going to do, really, do we?
No, but I'm looking at no, you're right. You're right, but I'm saying, like, I think what he will try to do is transition us, so he won't be too drastic in some of his tactics. And at times, Brentford do play a high line, and they do press. And as I said before, in terms of winning the ball back, I believe from what I read, it was second. I think they were in terms of winning that ball back in the attacking third, and that's what Postecoglou tried to do. He tried to implement that. But I just think Thomas Frank was pressing. He had different pressing triggers. There was a little bit more nuance to it all. But then at the same time, my counter argument to my own self is that he had more time on the training pitch than maybe what Postecoglou
You're
had.
arguing with yourself a lot, Ash, don't you?
That's what I do. I'm a madman. I just sit down and have conversations in my head. No, but it's true. You got to weigh it up. You got to balance yourself. You can't be like, Frank's going to be this amazing coach, and then not realize that he's got to play Champions League football and he's got to play Premier League football. And I know he had a great record against the top six, where I think he amounted 21 points, the same as Man City in terms of winning those games, win percentage. I think he had like
that's the nuts thing, is that this, if we are going to go at like on all fronts, like you really do need a lot. You need more quality players coming in.
Told you, man, because when you were saying he could just improve on what he has, I'm like, nah, bro, he needs players. We've done this before. We've had managers in and said, oh, the manager can get the best out of these players, and then leave. He's like, he's only bought like one marquee signing, and then the rest are like, okayish players. No, we need like Man United. As I said,
part of the remit for Frank coming in is that he's going to improve on what we have.
Yeah, he is, but I'm saying that I don't think that if we're gonna, it's different this time because we're in Champions League and we're in Premier League. I can't remember the last coach, maybe Mourinho, that came in and had to go straight into Champions League and do well in the Prem. Do you understand? Unless the remit is been Champions League, just focus on the league. Do you understand? Like Champs is just like, it is what it is. We're just going to be in there, but we're not taking it serious. And I don't know how the fans will feel about that. But again, even if we didn't take it serious,
what does that look like, though, Ash? What does that actually look like?
No, but even if we didn't take it serious, we're still going to have to. Frank's still going to have to rotate. Do you know what I mean? That's what that looks like. So if he's rotating and he says, "Oh, all right, cool, we signed Tell. We've got Tell playing on the left. Solanke has to play twice because we haven't really got a striker like that unless Richarlison's there. And then on the right wing, we might have to be like an Odegaard. Do you know what I'm saying? That's how he's going to have to rotate the squad, and then people, fans, are going to know that we're not taking the Champions League seriously. And if we get battered, it's not going to look good on Thomas, especially if we play another game and we say we've got Man United and then we get turned over by them because they've got, I don't know, Embremo banging the goals, or they've got Cunha scoring goals. You know what I'm saying? Or Gokaras doing that.
That's not going to happen, though, is it? That's never going to happen. Because listen to the noise from upstairs, from Levy and everyone like that. They know there's so much money in progressing through every round of the Champions League. If he starts resting players in the Champions League, they're not going to have that one bit.
So that's the problem then. How are you going to balance the Premier League and the Champions League? How are you going to because if you don't rest players and you don't rotate sufficiently, and then people are going to look at Thomas like, it's not going to be Thomas, Frank. It's going to be like, he's not the guy. He's a novice. He's not on the Ange level. Ange got fifth in his first season and he won a cup in his second season. That's what we're going to come back to.
I imagine that if Ange stayed in, I imagined that he was going to have a proper go at trying to win the Champions League. And we might have got relegated, but I think he was going to go for the Champions League. I think he was going to go all out to win something. And honestly,
you would have got that far, Braids. If we would have got relegated, if we would have got into December and we're not in the top half of the table, he'd be gone.
Yeah, we might not have been that far. We might have been 10th or whatever. I'm sure the problem with Ange staying is that he was probably going, you got to give me players. You got to give me 10. Celtic gave me 10 in the second season. You got to give me 10 players. I
So
reckon
wait.
we can't buy this guy a squad. Like,
what's the remit though for like Frank? What are we saying? Is he allowed
I
to?
don't know. I've been trying
to
pass this whole for the last few days. I don't know what the remit is, to be honest, this season. Because let's be honest, because we've decided to sack Ange, we kind of obviously, unless it's a proper embarrassing like 17th, I guess. Like what is sackable for Frank this season?
This is why I said 10th. Yeah, I said 10th is
with no trophy.
8th or 10th. I said, look, Frank might have to be like one of those seasons where we finish outside of the top 6. I know a lot of fans are saying that, you know, they're not used to Tottenham finishing outside of Europe, but
Ash, on the club statement, they said we want to change approach and bring in a manager who can compete on multiple fronts.
Whoa, I just don't know if I don't know, man. Maybe I'm being too harsh.
You know what you saying? You're saying you'd sack him if he finished 10th, you mean?
No. I'd keep him. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, you know, why are you being harsh then? Are you being harsh?
No, you're saying that the club are saying that they need a manager that can manage.
I'm not saying the club are saying it.
Yeah, not you. The club are saying that he needs to manage on multiple fronts. That means 10th technically is not good enough.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
So I'm saying like maybe my expectations then are too low compared to what the club are saying. Like he needs to be finishing Europe. He needs to be 7th or 6th. And if he finishes below,
I don't think the club is saying it like literally. If he doesn't manage on all fronts next season, that they're going to sack him. I think it's something that they're going to want to build towards with a new manager.
That's different, but that's different. That's a different question. But for the first season, I'm saying, look.
But
where we was,
why can't Ange build towards that? But they sacked Ange for not being able to do it.
They sacked Ange because he lost 22 games in the season and finished 17th. That's why they sacked him.
And he was in Europa as well. In Europa as well. So in a higher level. So I think their logic is that Europa is easier than Champions League, and he got 17th.
We're saying,
although he won the cup, but if he leveled up in a higher level in the Champions League, would he then even become even worse? I think that's what they're saying.
I understand that, but we're also saying that if he finishes, let's say, 8th this season, Frank, and doesn't win a trophy, that means you drop out of Europe. So that means we might have to wait 3 seasons to see if he can actually compete on multiple fronts.
And think if that happens, think about the amount of money he will lose Spurs compared to the amount of money that Ange Postecoglou in our worst ever league season made Tottenham Hotspur. He made Spurs over 100 million by winning the Europa League.
Yeah, no,
it's an unsuccessful season because we finished 17th in the league.
It's ironic, but obviously it's a gamble. It's a gamble to keep Ange. It would have been a gamble to keep him, and it's a gamble to get rid of him as well at the same time. And I think they chose the lesser of the evil in their opinion, because Frank is an experienced manager or coach that had a budget of 71 million across 4 seasons and had one of the lowest wage bills.
That's the point.
In the league.
Like, they're not going to bring a guy in who is so well known for doing incredibly well with a tiny budget. They're not going to bring him in and go, give this guy
a massive budget. Yeah, that's what I feel like. Yeah,
they're going to bring him in and go, we don't need to spend anymore. That's solved that
Try
problem.
And get fit,
and that's why
possible money.
And guys, and that's why I think we'll finish 10th. You see where I'm coming from? Because I don't. That's what. Like, even if Ange was here, I don't think they would trust him and they would back him properly. And I think that's part of the problem. So it's like you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. That's where I'm at with it. So like, and that's why I've got like question marks with the whole Son thing. Son coming out and saying what he said. He didn't really say, "Nah, I'm looking to stay." I feel like the club did that 1-year extension because they had a view or a mind of eventually trying to get a little bit of money from him. They weren't going to, they weren't going to extend this contract.
So, do you think the club will see finishing outside of European places next season as acceptable?
Yeah. I think for the first season, they will. I don't think it'll be. I don't think that's what they want. I think they will. Of course, obviously. They want Europe, but I think they will give it. But I don't think they will fire him if he's in the top half of the table. If he's I think that's too much for them because they've already got that whole, 18 months stigma against them. Do you know what I mean? And then it really looks bad if they sack Frank. So yeah, I think they've got to stick with it no matter what happens. They got to kind of see it through into the second season.
Or
and Frank real bad.
An FA Cup.
I think
Brains, what you're saying. Brains, you know what you're saying about Frank's not coming. We're not going to give him a big budget because what he's famous for and all that. With all the rumors about takeover talks and all that kind of hotting up at the moment, do you feel like this could be an appointment just to keep things steady? Not to let us drop too low. Just to keep us a bit steady without being able to spend too much. To gear up for that takeover.
Yeah, I mean, but that's like what kind of. I mean, that takeover. How long is that takeover going to, how keep us steady for how long? You know what I mean?
I think this is. I think you're right, Ben. But I think it's an appointment that the board feel could possibly get Champions League without having to spend too much. That's what I think personally.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's hard to argue with this appointment though, because it is a sound appointment. It's the club's motivation behind it.
What about your intentions?
Yeah, it's like, and it's not to say that they don't want success. They want success for the least amount of money. As anyone,
that's what they've always wanted.
Yeah, so it's like if you stayed on the Postecoglou path, you were not guaranteed. You might have got relegated, and then you get Thomas Frank in. He'll bring you back up. But like, it's just the risk to kind of, the risk to success ratio is too much with Ange. But I think they've done a clever thing here. He's such a sound signing, Frank, here, because he is a boat steadier and he is a good manager.
You can't hate him as well. You just can't hate him as well.
He's such a good guy. If he gets us to 10th, you'll start hearing the club saying, "Oh, well, 7 places, what a phenomenal season! He's improved us 7 places." It's like, oh, we were 5th. The season Ange got us 5th, and then won as a trophy. Like, we should be going. Success for us now is like, well, we got to win at least a Carabao Cup or FA Cup, or we've got to be later in the stages of Champions League.
The competition
for me just isn't that interesting. I would much rather win a Carabao Cup now, or win an FA Cup now, or go far in the Champions League. I don't mind finishing 10th if we win another trophy. Like, I don't
you think though, like winning a a League Cup is still quite a hard fate. Looking at what like Newcastle went through, and it depends on the draw you're given, right? Because they had to go through some tough Premier League opposition to get that cup over the line. And, people say, if he gets a League Cup, a FA Cup, I think that's a big deal. Do you know what I mean? I know the fact that Newcastle won it and then Crystal Palace, obviously, they won the FA Cup. We look at it like, these are winnable cups. They are, but the competition, you still have to face Premier League opposition. And Premier League opposition.
Winning the Europa League, Ash, winning the FA Cup.
That's why I started, because I was going to say it, and I was like, I pulled back. Obviously,
to be fair, Ange could have won that with his best team without injuries. If he had his best team, we were 90 minutes away from getting to the final, and then anything could have happened. So I do think it is it's a very tough. But the reason it's not,
of course, it's tough.
The reason it's not harder than the Europa League is that a lot of teams drop out of it sometimes just because they're not focusing on it. Like no one's going out to like win the Carabao Cup other than City. City win it quite regularly, but like a lot of teams like just don't prioritize it. You know what I mean? Same with the FA Cup.
Also, you have to qualify for it.
Yeah, the Europa League, like once you get into the later rounds of the Europa League, you have to play your top, your best. And I don't care what anyone says.
I think you're never going to see a Wigan or a Portsmouth win Europa League. It's never going to happen.
Yeah, there's a long road to get into that. The Europa League is kind of like the payoff from Ange finishing 5th.
Mm-hmm.
It's like because he's got into it. You have to finish in the Europa League places and then go on the journey towards winning it.
Mm-hmm. Is Romero and Son equivalent to losing a Kane or nah? Kane outweighs both of them.
Well, yeah,
because you've got a solid defender. Because we could lose both Romero and Son in the same season. Do you know what I mean? So,
yeah, but you're going to bring in Nathan Collins and solve the problem.
Exactly, it's all good, mate.
I love it. We all know his name.
We were chatting, me and Ben, like after we were talking about Brentford fan. And obviously, he was like waxing lyrical about Nathan Collins, and then like a few hours before, Ben was like defending Spurs keeping on Ben Davis, and he's fine, whatever. He's not going to play much. And then I'm sitting here thinking at the end, like, we're justifying potentially two of our centre backs going into a Champions League campaign being Collins and Davis. That's what we're justifying. You know what I mean? Like, what are we doing?
What Stoke will be happy to go in. That's like a Stoke centre back too. You know what I mean?
It's like we're thinking it's like we're trying to justify it for some reason. It's like we're happy with that.
23.
But he's a really dependable, strong player, isn't he? Though, like I can see a Frank coming in and going.
He's one of the best.
He's way better than Danzo. Like I can see him coming in and going. He's better on the ball.
And actually, it's funny you say that. There was a stat I saw. There's a stat I saw in terms of like line breaking passes. He's like in the top 7 or something in the league.
Yeah,
Collins.
Bring him in.
And he's one of the top aerially. So maybe he is sick.
No, he's a good player, man. He's good on the ball. He scored 2 goals
every week. You know, it's hard to like judge. He maybe he's just not a flashy out there guy. He's also young. It's like, you know,
his name's Nathan Collins. You know what I mean? It's just like
why is
someone that's going to be
No, he's got 2 goals and 5 assists. So clearly he's got he's on the ball. He's really good. So, and he does the throws, isn't he? He takes their throws. So.
But why is he never linked with a top team? I never hear his name bandied about.
Doesn't matter, man. He's rated. I know, lots of rival fans.
He was unbelievable.
Yeah, it's a breakout season, isn't it?
Lots of rival fans rate him. Lots of rival fans I've heard talk. Man United fans, I've heard Arsenal fans talk about him. Liverpool fans. I've really heard Nathan Collins' names ring bells. But
so would you be happy if we replaced Romero and Nathan Collins? Say with your chest, Ash.
No, look, Romero. No, come on, man. What are we doing there, man? Christian.
How much is Branthwaite? Like how much does Branthwaite go for? Like
they're saying they want around 70 million.
70, there you go.
Nathan Collins all day long. Let's save some pennies here and just get.
But Branthwaite is he's left-footed, isn't it? He's a left-footed, left-sided centre back, no? So I think that's where that kind of money goes up, and that's what we need.
Yeah, but you're not going to get someone when you've got Van de Ven. You're not going to pay 70.
Yeah, exactly for someone that's going to be a rotation piece. But do you think if and I said this earlier, but do you think if Spurs, Thomas Frank was to win the Super Cup, he would have achieved what Ange has done in terms of winning the Europa Cup?
No,
it's a one-off game.
A one-off game against PSG.
Yeah, no, but wait, hear me out. PSG are better than Man United. They tore apart Inter Milan, and they're the Champions League final. They won the Champions League final.
One-off game, though.
But look at the teams look at the teams that PSG beat to win to the final.
Is Community Shield better than winning the FA Cup? That's like the same thing.
The Super Cup is great to win and everything. It'll be great for our ego, but it's not like we don't know who's won the Super Cup every year. You know what I mean? It's just like pretty much the charity shield of Europe. It's a significant trophy.
I'll ask you again when we win it, guys. I'll ask you again. I'm joking.
Oh, don't get me wrong. It's going to be like winning the Champions. If we win that, we're going to be believing we can win the Champions League. If we win that, I'm telling you, we're going to be believing that on that day.
We'll go crazy. We'll go
How many Spurs fans are going to book their flights to Budapest after we beat PSG?
the flight.
It's quite a hilarious, pre-season. I think we've got walking to PSG. It's like what?
What? Okay, Woking.
Is this?
Hey, Woking.
We're playing Bayern Munich, Newcastle, Arsenal,
Yeah, and PSG.
And
And we're
PSG.
playing. What is this Woking game? Why are we playing like?
I haven't heard of that Woking. What are you talking about?
What are you talking?
I'm pretty sure we're playing Woking
What are you talking
on.
about, Willis?
Yeah, what are you talking about, Breeze?
Sure we're playing
What about Wiz?
Woking on the 20th. I'll show you. Because a friend of mine's his father-in-law's a Woking fan and got a thing through, and it said playing Tottenham Hotspur on a certain date. Let me just get the.
I think that might be like the under-21s or something.
You talk about Woking? Is that what you talk about? Woking?
Yeah,
I thought it was Woking.
Yeah, this is Woking's like.
While you're searching that, I'll go.
That looks like maybe an under-21 tournament or something?
Pre-season. It's got Fulham in there as well.
Oh, they've got Fulham, they've got Bournemouth, they've got Cray Valley, and they've got Tottenham Hotspur, Portsmouth.
What's it called? You got a whole thing there. Is it a tournament? What is it?
No, this is just Woking's pre-season fixtures.
Very
It
sus.
says here Woking to take on 11s from Tottenham, Fulham. I think Spurs are going to send like an under-21 team to that.
It's on the 26th of July.
That's 4 days before the Hong Kong game.
Son will still be there at the club by then, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
There's no chance they go to Korea without Son. No chance at all. No chance.
It is a good time for him to go, though, isn't it? Like he's won something.
Yeah.
Exactly what Tigaro says. Sonny will stay for another 12 months, man. It's got to happen. While the Heung-Min Hyuk promo train keeps rolling, or another Korean star is brought in. There's big money at stake, people.
So wait, do you think then, like with Son, if he goes, do you think all the his fan base at the Tottenham Stadium they disappear, or do you think they hang around for a bit?
I don't know, man.
Not totally, but yeah, you will lose
significantly decrease for sure.
It's not like I stopped supporting Spurs when Lineker and Gaza left, like a whole season and a half after I started supporting them because they were here. You know, you stay for you get caught up in the drama of it, especially winning that. That's why winning that trophy was so big. Like the amount of fans we would have made worldwide by winning the Europa League is huge.
Yeah, but do you think we've lost some Aussie fans now that Andrew's gone?
100%. 100%. Yeah. Did you not see that podcast, that Australian podcast doing the round? Did you see that?
I didn't see it, but I heard you talk about it. So that's what I'm saying. Like with Sonny going, then we're going to lose a significant amount of.
Sim's still big in Australia, though.
Massive. I'm a hero in Australia.
getting fucking, what is it?
National Sim Day.
Getting boomerang sent over from the mayor of Melbourne.
Have you watched that clip? Is that what you're talking about?
No, he hasn't watched it. He just heard us talking about it.
We can get it up. Why not? We'll get it out. I'm sure it's only a little. This thing here. Let me. I'll share my screen. 1 sec.
Of course, Sim's just got it.
I've got it lined up because I agree word for word with what this guy's saying.
Got all those anti-Ange or pro-Ange receipts.
Oh yeah, there was on the documentary as well. Remember? Yeah.
I don't know why they added me and not Sim in that.
I'm actually offended.
That epic documentary. That
people watch that.
Have you not seen this guy, Brains?
No.
Note of scorn for Tottenham Hotspur, who never deserved Ange Postecoglou in the first place. What a miserable club. Personally, I'm glad my time following them is over. They are living the worst destructive cycle. Everything I hate about sport in the modern era. Reveling in the failures rather than rejoicing, striving and believing. My snap judgment is Spurs is the most foolish club in all of sport. And their owner, Daniel Levy, is a ridiculous figure addicted to sacking managers. In generations to come, parents will tell their children of the night in Bilbao when an Australian ended 17 years of heartbreak by delivering a European trophy. They will recount how 220,000 people filled the streets in an outpouring of emotion and relief, finally feeling like the chosen ones. Those children will ask their parents to take them to the statue of the man who ended the years of torture. And those parents will look shamefully down at the ground and tell their younglings, rather than build a monument, they sacked Ange Postecoglou 16 days later. They know not what they have done. Farewell to Tottenham from my sporting affections, the most foolish club in all of sport. They never understood. They never deserved him. In Ange we trust.
Wow. Hotspur Happy is looking pretty good these days.
I mean, Tim's in
totally right. He is right. He's just very like it's quite an epic little rap. Hopefully you could rap like that. Next time a girl breaks up with me, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna make her a video and I'm gonna talk like that. You know, like
it
reminds me of that "Come Dine with Me" clip. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You only got any Thomas Frank clips, have you?
No, I don't have it lined up. Sorry, mate. Sorry, mate. You need an clip? I got you covered.
He's not cleared out the Ange Wank Bank just yet. The Frank Wank Bank's coming soon. Frank Wank Bank. Far too many N and K's, really. I love that.
He saw Kulu hanging around with Gyökeres today. Just saying,
no
Agent
chance.
Kulu's on the case.
No chance.
Yeah, he's never.
I see Rooney Bargy have more chance of us signing him.
What do you reckon about him though? Because he's been out for the last year.
Yeah, he's been injured. That's the thing. But he has scored. He has played in Champions League. He has scored. You know, he's young. He's another young one though. It's another young kid. But he has done it at that level where he made his name. So I've heard he's tight. Rooney Bargy. He's really tight. With
Rooney Bargy,
yeah. He's going to be proper tight. Like them two meant to.
Here's one. Malware says, "Relax, guys. Frank will make Johnson into a crack version of Mo Salah, where he runs away with the golden boot. I guarantee it."
Yeah.
I'd love to see it.
I'd love to see it.
Azad said, "If Romero goes, we should get Kim Min Jae. Perfect replacement."
Kim Min Jae. Hey, do you remember? Everyone was on Kim Min Jae, boy, a couple summers ago. That's fun.
You're not on him now.
I think
you're not on him now.
Yeah, I'd bring him in. He's a great defender.
I wouldn't mind Tapsoba either.
I think Frank would like him. Yeah, I mean, I love Tapsoba as well. But...
Is Tapsoba? Where's Tapsoba right now?
Still Everton.
Yeah.
Jack says Brantford is right-footed, but equally comfortable on both feet.
He was.
He can play right centre back as comfortably as left centre back, same as Gehi, who recently.
You're right.
I thought Brantford was left-footed, but can play with his right.
No, I think he's right-footed.
Let me check, man.
He can play with his left.
Let's see this. Let's settle this.
He's bipedaler.
He's left-footed.
You got it ready, yeah.
Jack, don't come on here lying us.
Nah. You tried to put us in the mud, bro.
Lying about the feet of the player. Never lie about that, man.
Michael Helbers will pull up the letter of Nick Rees, the Lord Mayor of Melbourne, to Daniel Levy. Who's got that?
Yeah, he wrote a letter urging, demanding really, Levy reinstate Ange Postecoglou.
That's crazy. You reinstate. Do Australia think we're living in the days of Rome or something? Like, I demand you reinstate this man.
Where's he linked to it as well at the moment, Postecoglou?
Nowhere really.
He's linked to clubs, but no specific club.
Yeah,
I tell you, he is going to go somewhere and he's going to win something big again. Like, but he should just keep going up though. Like, he should go to like a top team in one of the top 5 European.
What clubs do you think would have him though? What teams would you think would have him?
I said the other day, I think a really good fit would be Forest. You know, you got Nuno and Marinakis having weird relations there at the moment. You got the Greek connection with Marinakis and Postecoglou.
They might fall out though. Them men are volatile, the Greeks, man. They go after each other. That's crazy.
That'd be great though.
They're not loyal to each other, man.
He would do. I think he would do bits with that Forest one as well.
But
Yeah,
in the
but
Premier
it
League,
completely change them. I don't know, because they're gone defensive. You make them ultra attacking. I don't know. High line for Forest.
Yeah.
other ones is other people have said like Leeds get that Bielsa feeling back at
Yeah,
Leeds.
I've heard that actually. Yeah, I've heard that. I wouldn't mind him coming back in the Premier League. To be fair, it'd be interesting to see him at another club. See how he does.
If he goes to Leeds, they go straight back down.
You reckon?
Borussia Dortmund. Dortmund don't have a manager right now, do they? Or have they got? Is Dortmund got a manager?
Yeah, because wasn't Man City talking about like him succeeding Pep? I saw they were saying that at one point.
Yeah, there was talk about it, but not really talk from Man City, just talk around. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
Who is Dortmund's manager?
I thought they were. Did they have an
It's,
interim?
well,
Nico
sorry,
Kovac, isn't it?
it's
Nico
Kovac.
Kovac.
Yeah.
So who's your guys like? Who do you think we need to prioritize? Because I haven't heard you guys' opinion on the whole positions where we need to prioritize. Is it left wing, right wing? Like,
I think we need like a left centre back, left back kind of hybrid player. But I think if you ask me one player, the first player who I bring into this club, it's got to be Eze. I said it before. It's got to be Eze.
Yeah, I agree. But did you watch the England game today?
No, but I heard he was cooking.
I didn't watch it. So yeah, he played well. Yeah,
I didn't watch it.
Apparently, England were terrible, but Eze would play really well.
They lost 3-1 to Senegal, Brains.
Did Papi Matt Sarr play?
He wasn't in the squad.
Yeah, no.
Wasn't he?
Yeah, it's mad.
I looked at the teams. I saw Pape wasn't in the squad, so I didn't even bother turning it on.
No Spurs representative 40%.
I just watched just the other day. I watched it. England playing Andorra. Just like shut up. I was just like, this is the what is this? This is the
apparently Tuchel's under pressure already.
You say Southgate or Tuchel?
Tuchel's under pressure already. I'm hearing.
Didn't Tuchel have like?
Apparently, no word of a lie. Apparently, there were some chance of Tuchel out.
Massive booze at full time today. Massive.
Didn't he have inverted players like right foots at left back and left foot? You know, wasn't who did he have? He had like Liverpool player at like right back.
I don't know what Tuchel's doing. He's got like Jordan Henderson in the squad and shit like that. Man. I don't know what he's doing.
He's trying to mash them up, and everyone was brushing Lee Carsley as well.
Reece James at left back. He had Reece James at left back.
Yeah. What is he doing? Seriously.
Jones at right back. It was like,
I mean, there's one thing experiment.
Right back. It was the most strangest thing.
Why is Kyle Walker still being called up? Why is Jordan Henderson still being called up? Like, what is going on?
He wants.
I thought he was supposed to usher in a new era, but he's not.
But he had a whole bunch of right backs in the team, and he played a midfielder at right back. It was just like, what's going on here? It was the strangest thing I've ever seen.
Today it was Walker right back, Skelly left back, and Colwell and Chalobah centre backs.
What's he doing with that bloody gooner in there?
Get him out.
That sounds a little bit more like it, but
get him out.
Yeah, I just think we need to prioritize on like game-changing players. I think Eze is a guy in a game who can be a game changer. It's not really just about his like scoring ability, but I think he links play really well.
I'd say the nation was at its happiest when there was 5 Spurs players in the squad.
100%.
You know what? You know how we're looking at like someone who can play off the sides or through the center, and we're looking for someone who's like kind of inventive, a bit like Maddison. I think Jack Grealish was born to play for Spurs.
I agree with you. He's a proper Spurs player. I don't know if it's going to be another Sterling. You know what I mean?
The time's coming on for Grealish, man.
Do you know what it is?
I think he's like a player who needs to reinvent himself.
I agree with you, but I don't know if Spurs is right. I think he needs to be like at a place where like he's the guy, like everying goes through.
I thought he could be the guy at Spurs because he's got that kind of I don't know if that's yeah, maybe. I just feel like he's that kind of player, like where he could be if he's the main man and he plays like in a 10 potentially.
Yeah,
I think that's where he kind of thrives, and he's controlling it. Like if he dictates the tempo of the game, where his passing is underrated. We don't get to see it at City because
he would enjoy playing in a Frank style system where he gets on the ball centrally and does a lot. Where he's not bored to tears in the game.
That's what I mean. Yeah, because he's got physicality about him. He's got the physicality about. Because I remember when they were looking at Foden and they were looking at Grealish, and they were like, "Who's going to be the midfielder that kind of pushes England to the next level as a number 10?" Do you know what I mean? And Foden was looked at as a kind of systems player, like an Iniesta, whereas Grealish was more like the maverick, like he is the system, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And people really do forget about, you see, Aston Villa, they weren't a possession-based team underneath Dean Smith. And was it Dean Smith and Gerrard he played under?
Yeah.
Yeah. So those teams there, they weren't really possession-based teams. They were more, I know Dean Smith was more of a transition team. So when he's got space to run into, you can see Grealish running centrally. He holds onto the ball and he's got like a good pauser about him, meaning like he knows when to release the ball, when to play the killer pass through the lines. Do you know what I'm saying? But when he went to City, he put him in the system where he said, "No, I want you to stay out wide, and then I want you to defend. When you lose the ball, you got to protect the fullback. So I need to defend a lot more." So his like remit and what he was told to do was completely different to where when he was at Villa, he had the free roll. He could.
And it's like, and then when he goes to City, right? Pep's like, when you get the ball, I need you to do these specific things.
Exactly.
I need you to do specific things. When he's at Villa, he's like, just go and just fucking create.
Basically. Yeah, just create. Because a creative player, you don't need to be tied down to be told what to do.
Can you not see them sending Asensio back and bringing in Grealish on loan?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and Rashford as well. Rashford's not staying, is he?
Yeah. Definitely. Now, Ben, you're right. You've called it right, man. I think so. I just thought if half the wages were covered, then they might see that as an option where they bring Grealish in as an option because it's cheaper, isn't it? And then you could get another marquee signing on top. Does that make sense? But I agree with you. I think he goes Villa, and I think that we go for Tell on a permanent. You know what I'm saying? Instead of like Jack Grealish. Fans will be happy. Fans will say, "No, Grealish is a playboy. He's washed. He's lost his legs. He ain't got the same guy." Even though I think he's being misprofiled at City, I honestly do. No, Grealish is a play. Like remember when he won the treble, all the focus was on him drinking and him being. And I feel like the English media,
He was good in that treble year.
He was, but they focused on him like partying, like as in like he's not a human being, like he's not allowed to have like a drunken moment. But that's what I remember. Like the other day when they filmed him coming out the pub, like he's all drunk. But behind the scenes, if you hear like lots of the coaches, they say how hardworking he is, stays behind.
I think he's a good lad.
He is. Apparently, like a lot of the professionals say, like, yeah, he
used him.
but a lot of people. But it's like Rashford. Remember before Rashford went to Villa, it was like, Rashford's he's not serious. And remember the media killing Rashford's personality, his image. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And that's what they do to players, man. They ruin them. They say, "Oh yeah, he's a playboy. He's this and that. He's arrogant. He doesn't listen." Blah blah blah. If the media don't like you, they put it out there, and it changes like loads of fans' perceptions of players, man. And so that's the reason why like some of these players they don't get the news, man. It's just a shame.
I just love players who are like in the image of Spurs legends,
like your Hoddle. Hoddle. Thank you. That's what I'm doing about Grealish.
When Grealish was coming through, I hadn't seen a player move like him with the ball and just have that kind of braveness since Gascoigne and like Hoddle, the way that they would like run a game, and it's like for me, it's like even right now, like a washed Grealish is better than Tell. Like we'll do so much more in a season than Tell. I watched the end of the season, and to be honest, by the end of the season, I was like, this Tell guy's got some good attributes. He was doing some really clever, really nice stuff, like some of his inward passing. He's got
the reverse pass for him when he gave it to Richarlison.
He's got really good stuff, but get him in that box, he just panics. He just fluffs. He just doesn't have what a striker needs. Not yet. And we,
you know what it is?
Like, wait, we shouldn't be this season. We should not be having players in and around the squad who we're waiting to see come into fruition.
Yeah, he needs more game time.
I think we have seen him play enough last season to know that he is a good player and that he's like a second from exploding. Whereas you cannot tell needs a few seasons. You know, even arguably Odegaard needs a couple of seasons, but at least from Odegaard we have seen real like running at guys with a verve.
Yeah, that's the difference between the two of them.
Yeah,
so,
we can't have anyone in the squad who's just we're carrying just because they're young and they might be good. Like,
do you know what it is with Tell? Like, because he does show the glimpse where he can get beyond his man and he can like get inside the box, get a shot off, or he can go on the outside. So at times he does show that ability, and you've seen it in that French squad when he plays more like an inside forward and he's closer to the goal. He's actually not a bad finisher 1v1. He's actually quite decent. And I think a lot of people are seeing that side of Tell and what he did at Bayern Munich. I remember when he played against us in the friendly, he was, I don't know who was fullback at the time, but he was ripping them a new one. Do you know what I'm saying?
That's what you get from like young players, is that they're great at youth level and in youth tournaments. And
yes, correct. That's the point I was going to make.
Premier League, when you get into the box 6 yards out, he's missing.
So I think what happens with Tell is when it comes to pressure, he hasn't quite learned how to handle that yet. And that's why when you see when the ball goes into him, I don't know if you've noticed it, in a defensive third or when he's near the wide positions, his link play isn't that strong yet. He's not able to hold his man off, or he's not able to turn into space and then progress up the pitch. He hasn't got that half turn ability yet, where you know, like when you've got a winger, you want your winger to kind of pull you out of a mess or pull you up the pitch. He hasn't got the physicality, and he doesn't know when to use his pace as well, because I've seen him run off the pitch and run down blind alleys at times. Do you know what I mean? And I don't think he's a winger, and I know he's not a striker because he hasn't got the physicality. You understand? So he is a wide forward. I think maybe with Frank, he might be able to get the best out of him because he does play with the forwards a lot closer to the goal, if that makes sense.
Don't you think that Frank should be like, we should be looking at, you know, even if you just look at like Son, Solanke, Johnson, those are really good players, right? Yeah. And then you've got Odegaard, who's on the outside pushing for place. That's 4. Okay, solid here. Yeah. Now you need like another big, like you get rid of Richarlison.
I'm saying
get rid of Richarlison and bring in a big striker.
Right.
And then you need an Eze. Now, if you've got Eze, Son, Solanke, a big striker, Johnson and Odegaard, that looks not too bad. That looks that's good, you know. But if you're saying keep Tell,
because just the last bit. The last bit I was gonna say was with Odegaard, even though he beats his man, he's quite powerful. He's got the physicality. He's got the upper body strength.
Yeah,
his finishing needs refining. Even his crossing on his strong foot and his weak foot. I know he's ambidextrous and he whatever wing he is, he's gonna whip that ball in. It's still a bit raw, so it's overhit at times. So he hasn't got enough curl on his crosses. Sometimes he hasn't got he can't hang the ball up at times. Sometimes he doesn't know. It's decision making to know when to like do the hang ball, if that makes sense. Yeah. So that's where Odegaard needs to work on. But then I think Tell needs to work on his link play, his physicality, and have a bit more like of a toolbox of tricks, because he hasn't got a variety of like, you know, how to beat a man. He's quite limited in that sense, in my opinion. Do you know what I mean?
Do you guys not think 30 million's quite a lot of speculation? Like, you got to speculate to accumulate, but 30 million on a speculation, that's...
What about another loan deal?
I'll do another loan deal. But
I don't want that, but
more
I
about
think Spurs are going to push for it hard, another loan deal. It's got to be done.
I don't think you can spend 30 million. On what we saw from him, it wasn't enough for 30 million.
But I also kind of feel like there's an opportunity with that link up between him and Odegaard. They play with each other on international level.
That's what I thought.
There's I think maybe there's just something you've got to take advantage of there.
But that's what I thought until I saw it in the second game, because the first game I was begging for it. I want to see Odegaard and Tell, because I really believed in the hype. I was like, French under 21s, they had a relationship. The reason why I tell him Odegaard, And I was like, that could be a great partnership moving forward. First game, I saw it. I can't remember what the game was. And it didn't quite work. It was all right. I think Odobert was on the left and Tell was on the right in their first game together. And then the second game, it happened again. And I remember I saw nothing from Tell. I was so devastated because I really thought that was a combination that was going to like work. You know what I mean? It's a bit like when we did the watch along sim and it was Tottenham versus Wolves. And I thought, yeah, man, of course we'll beat Wolves. And then Wolves beat us. That's how devastated I felt when the Tell Odobert Broski marriage didn't work, man. I was upset, man.
We've got the we've seen it like those last 5 games in the league. We saw Odobert and Tell, and it was garbage. It was just we had no output at all, no attacking, like no one had the
Alice.
But maybe with Frank, he can do it.
I remember.
You can't
Because
judge
Palace
them
had
with
a
games,
headlock.
though, you can't.
Do you remember when we played against Palace?
What about Forest? What about Forest? They linked up well then.
Did they?
Yeah, they did a
We
good
lost
game.
that game. I swear we lost that game.
Doesn't matter. Still linked
Forest,
up.
yeah,
Was that the game where they were getting lots of crosses into the box? I think that was the one game.
We only really did
I
well
remember.
when Solanke and Richarlison were on the pitch in that game.
Yeah.
How many games did they actually play together though? Like the sample size is just so small.
And Tell assisted Odobert against West Ham.
I think we saw. I think we didn't see enough of Odobert because he got injured.
Hey.
And I think Odebert's not even in the conversation.
I'm sneaking that one in. I'm sneaking it in.
I don't know if we want to pass it to him. I'm not going to lie to you.
No, I'm sneaking it.
Odebert's definitely enough. We've seen enough from Odobert, but we haven't seen enough from Tell, and that's what a loan is. That's like you can't when you're a young player, like, and he's not that young. Like he is young, but like young in football now is people are breaking through at 17, 18.
I mean, he's 19.
He's 19, but I think when you're at a big club and then you go to the Prem and you're on a loan, you gotta show something. And for the amount of game time he had, you have to show something. You gotta be getting goals and assists. You've got to show. You can't be then.
Yeah, but he's taking the game up to a completely another level, though.
Say that again.
I think he can. I think Frank can take his game up to a completely another level.
It's just such a big maybe for 30 million, though. If it was 10 million, I'd be like, yeah, 19-year-old.
30 million isn't that much these days.
Tell's 20 years old.
Yeah, he was 19 when we signed him. No.
Oh right, so he's 21 next year.
Next year, yeah.
How much is someone like a Damsgaard? Would you say 30 million?
I would take Damsgaard personally. I would take.
He's not a winger. He's not a winger.
No, but I'm just saying the quality of a player.
10.
Yeah, but he took 3 years to settle in at Brentford.
He did. Seems right. He took 3 years.
I think I saw him when he got big injury, didn't he? Though he was like out for a while. But I've always saw him do really well. Like anytime I've seen him play, he's been really
hard working, covers a lot of the ground.
But that's what I mean.
Didn't he have that really good Euros before he joined Brentford? Like a year
he had amazing Euros, yeah. And then he got injured.
Yeah. He got great Euros, injury, joined Brentford, was pretty bad for 2 years, and then was great last year.
No, I think he went there and got injured, didn't he? Like he got injured when he went there.
No, I think he was injured before.
Was it before? Oh, was he at Sampdoria? Yeah. Yeah.
He got injured like literally in the first week of the season, I think, after that Euros.
Yeah.
Something like that.
But I'm just meaning like as in the quality of players who are in the Premier League who you could probably snatch for like, 30 million. If you were just talking about like cost rather than position. It's like I wouldn't spend.
What winger can you get for 30 million?
Huh?
What
winger?
Really budgy.
Is that Nenny guy that Ash you were talking about from RB Salzburg?
Who you think he's less of a risk from the Austrian league?
No, he's a risk. He is a risk.
Yeah, it's 14, a risk. Yeah.
He's a risk. But yeah, it's
and he's
30 million. What we're saying is with the 30 million, you could add it on to a potential another player, if that makes sense.
I'd love it, but I'm just saying.
But Brains, you're saying, towards the end of the season, you could see he's got something, right?
Yeah.
And you said as well, we've seen enough from Odobert. I don't think we've seen enough from Odobert, but I still think from Odobert, you can see he's got something. I don't think
I agree that with Odegaard, he's got something, but I think I have seen the way he runs at his man for like a winger. I think it's tough because he came back and he clearly wasn't fully ready. Like he was a little bit leggy. He's got a lot to work on as well, but I just like the way he plays the game. Like when you get him on the ball and he runs at players, he's got an idea of which way he's going. He drops his shoulder. He's got a bit of trickiness about him, and that's
the physicality, bro. The physicality.
That's confidence to me, though. When he like looks and he gives defenders the eyes and he goes the other way, he's like thinking about how to do it. Whereas
some stinkers as well, though.
I think it's instinctive.
Real stinkers.
But I think Tell does have attributes, but I don't see him. I think he has like a wide forward. I think he has like a second striker or even a bit of 10, but not like a midfield 10. You know what I mean? He seems to be quite creative. And maybe if he was confident and had someone who was really like, I just think he needs a bit of time in a team where he can grow to be the man and then become a great. I think Spurs is a complicated place to be right now.
You know what it is? I think Champions League muddies the waters. I think expectation of the fan base, Thomas Frank's first season, kind of ruins the expectation for like a Tell, because I think Frank could do wonders with a Tell. I really do think he could coach him.
But you're not going to get, you're 100% not going to get Eze if you get Tell, right?
I don't know. I think we could get both. I don't know why.
How much is Eze? Like about 70 million or something?
So Eze is 49.5 million up front, I think, but then add-ons get up to like 65 to 70 mil.
I think it's 60 million up front with 8 million in add-ons.
Oh, is it 60 million? Oh, I thought it was 49 million up front.
No, I think it's 60.
So you're probably talking around 90 to 100 million on just those two. And what is that? Is that? I mean, are you saying Eze is a kind of more of a central or a winger?
He's more of a player where, like we said, we're not playing wingers like that anymore.
Yeah.
So we're going to play forwards, or especially on the left-hand side. I don't know about the right. The right, we might have a traditional wide man.
Is Thomas Frank's system predominantly a 4-3-3, or is it a 4-2-1?
Last season it was 4-2-3-1.
4-2-3-1.
Okay.
See, the season before that was a 3-5-2.
Yeah.
I like a guy who can go between that, like those two, to be able to play the 3-5-2, because I think our squad really suits the 3-5-2.
Yeah, I think on the transition we'll be deadly. I think you'll get the best out of us in terms of counterattacks and stuff.
Yeah.
Against the bigger teams.
But that's what Ben was saying earlier about him coming in. Like, he can have the way he plays, he uses the 4-3-3 in a different way. He can do all that at Brentford because that's what they got. But if you come to Spurs and it's staring you in the face that this is a 3-5-2, and that if you had Solanke and Son, if Son stays, or like say Son goes and you've got
Johnson,
like
or Solanke
Johnson, you got a lot of players who it fits to work them together. Yeah. So it's like I can see him coming in and going, that's what this team is. And
predominantly that's what he played when he had Tony. When he had Tony, he'd liked to have two up top.
I think Tony and Solanke are quite similar.
Mm-hmm.
And their kind of makeup, right? Not in specifically their traits, but the way their game is.
They're not far off. Yeah, I agree, man. I think so. But
you think he could see Tony coming to Spurs when he's done at Saudi? Could he come to Spurs?
How old is he though, man? No, bro, he's a bit old, isn't it? It's getting on a bit.
How old is he?
I thought
he's 29.
He's 30 now. 30.
Why he's 29 already, man?
Yeah.
We need to be looking for the next guy, man. I don't know. Would you take him though? Would you take him at 29? Would you not take him?
Yeah, I'll take him. Why not?
Yeah, Tony's a serious character, man. He's a serious character.
Him and
I wanted him for a long time. We should have got him. He was the striker we probably should have gotten.
Well, over Solanke, you'd have preferred him over Solanke, Tony.
Yeah, I think I preferred him at the time over Solanke. Just because he was a little bit more about him, more of a character, more.
Yeah, like I've heard him in the interviews, and he talks about like when he's talking to defenders, he would be like, "Yeah, your mum, I got your mum in the back,
Yeah,
and then up in the ears. I don't know if Solanke's doing that, but yeah, Tony's the one he kind of rattles defenders.
Solanke's too busy with his anime shit. You know what I mean?
Solanke is just a really nice guy.
But
he actually did that. He actually did it at the end of the game against Brighton, the last game of the season, when he was posing with the trophy. They were like, "Give me the mask, give me the mask," and he put it on.
Hey, listen.
I don't think a football pitch is for nice guys. And yes, Sonny is a nice guy, but actually Sonny has a lot of bite about him on a football pitch. He has got that nasty in him, you know. And
his dad won't have it, innit? His dad and his brothers, they get into him, innit?
I don't think Solanke's got that nasty in him, like, you know, like the bit about him that Tony has was something I used to like watching. Like,
He's a super aggressive player, though, Solanke, isn't he?
I think Solanke is such a good footballer. Like, I think he's one of the keys. If Thomas Frank can figure out how to like use his technical ability and his skills and not fall for, oh, well, he needs to kind of fall deep and fall out of the striker zone and get him thinking like a murderous striker, you know, because that's the one side of his game. Even when he was on his purple patch that I still didn't see. Even when he was scoring, I saw the goals he was scoring as not really a goal scorer in flying form. I saw them as goals, and I saw a system that was working. But I just always thought, like, God, this guy's just not an out-and-out goal scorer. And so I thought he was going to struggle with us. But then he's come to us, and he's actually, like, kind of blown me away with his work rate, his technical ability. Like, he's got so many good attributes. If a coach could just, like, figure out how to, like, I'd actually say he is a kind of player who you should build around. You know what I mean? Like, I think you really could. But then I think 3-5-2 works for him.
Dribbling at times. Like,
He's very good.
He had that dribbling in him.
Yeah.
No, I did. I saw at Bournemouth. He used to link up with Billing. You know Billing?
Yeah.
Yeah, Philip Billing. Them two used to link up so well at Bournemouth. They would take turns and carrying the ball, you know, passing it in between each other and scoring goals. It's a bit like when Johnson was playing with Morgan Gibbs-White. Remember the link up they used to have? Like literally, like 1-2, 1-2, boom, 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 bang. Like there's a goal that Johnson scored, or was it Gibbs-White against Leicester? Goal was incredible. Like they ran like halfway.
I love when a team plays with a 3-5-2 because you have a 10 who plays below them in the diamond. They play that diamond, but that diamond it moves around. So if you've got a 9, like a Solanke type, who can be very versatile and play into the 10, then you can have 2 false 9s playing off that, you know, and then you still get him for his
10. Do you know a player I like? I think because you know we're always talking about we need a 1v1 winger, we need a 1v1 wing. I personally would like a winger that could play make as well. So like you know, like I was saying before,
Eze is.
Yeah, but yes, he is. But I'm saying like pass between the lines a little bit. Because you see with Eze is more like, yes, Eze can pass, but he's more like a dribble demon. Do you know what I mean? A take-on demon. You beat 2 or 3 men, and he would do it like in a way. Akalouche, man, from Monaco. I really like him. I really like him. I say again.
He's great. Yeah. I've seen him in the.
Oh, he's great. Yeah. No, I think Akalouche. He's a bit young though. he's a bit young, but he's got Champions League experience. I think he's 20. Is he 20 years old?
He's 23, man.
23. My bad.
That's actually a good age.
23. But the way he can get his head up and pass between the lines and his through balls, like that's something I look for players. If my player can do a through ball, I want him. That means he plays with his head up. Do you understand?
The way that PSG are playing with their wingers, the way that they all work together and like a really
ridiculous. Yeah,
this is what I mean. That the rotations. Do you know what I mean? He could interchange. Sorry, from being on the right hand side, then coming into the cam role, and then it's weight of pass as well. So the weight of pass going into like a Solanke to able to run onto it and finish. That's something I look for as well. Do you know what I mean?
Josh, what did you think of links to Elanga?
To Elanga? Yeah, you know what? I looked at it and I said, you know what? I'm not mad at it. I can't remember who he scored against. Man United.
Is that a real thing?
I follow Elanga's coach in it. Elanga's got like a PT in it, and I follow him. And the drills he does is crazy. So I know why he's operating at the level he's doing at the moment. And I'm like, Johnson, you need to holler at my man's PT, bro, because he's getting it in. But yeah, I remember the goal he scored against Man United, and I was like, brother, the way he just ripped through their team, he just dusting. Like I said, yeah, we could do with that kind of, like a player that really scares defenders, someone that can run at the heart of the fence. Do you know what I mean? Whether it be on the wings or be centrally, I don't mind. I like those type of like fast players, powerful fast players, and that's why I was looking at Semenyo. Do you know what I mean? Semenyo, again, like in possession, he can get you up the pitch, physical. He can turn, spatial awareness, close control as well. It's the type of players I like, man. But I just think with Semenyo, his passing range isn't like an Al-Khalouch, like I was saying before. And I think you should have one winger where he's 1v1 ability like Zakaleze, and then you should have one winger that can like break the lines a little bit different. So you know how Sane, I know people don't rate him, but you know how Sane, when he got the ACL, he had to switch up his game a little bit more, and he used to dribble infield and then find the ball, do like a diagonal cross or pass along the floor and find forwards arriving into the box. That's the type of wide player I would like. So one that's a bit more creative, and then one that's more like just a demon. You know what I'm saying? That's just me, man. But there's loads of players.
I just think with Frank,
go on, Brains.
No, Jack's recovering himself from the mud there. What's he saying?
Yeah, he said, my bad. Stats say Branthwaite is ambidextrous, but uses his right foot 30% of the time. A former coach said he's right-footed. Rare asset either way.
Hey, Branthwaite. You know what with Branthwaite though? Like, what do you think? Do you think he's like a bit of he turns a bit like a tractor a little bit? He's a little bit that lateral movement.
A bit of the Eric Dyers, you're saying.
A bit, yeah. I was gonna say Sim. Like he hasn't really got that hip mobility that I kind of like in the player, but positionally he's all right. I don't
Ash,
mind.
I'm hearing you saying, from everything you just said there, I'm hearing you say Nathan Collins is the right guy.
Yeah, you can read my mind, bro.
That's what I heard you say there. I think that's what I heard you say.
You know why I like Branthwaite? Because he's really physical, he's high, and he's good in the air. But so is Collins. He's good in the air as well. So I'm like, but
and Collins is going to be cheap, isn't he?
Yeah, it's just cheap.
Well, they signed him for 20 million, so not that cheap.
But yeah, but Branthwaite covers the left-sided option, isn't it? So, but we just can't have him on a bench.
Right for that much. Maybe he can cover both sides. If
you're right. You're right. I think that's why they're looking at him, because he just he ticks both boxes, isn't it? You know what I mean?
Can't play fullback though, can he?
No, I doubt it.
But Collins is too good of an opportunity to pass up.
I think so.
I'll miss out on Collins, man.
If it's 20 million, and he's like,
he'll be more than 20 million.
You reckon?
They signed him for 20, so it's going to be double that probably.
Well, even Papa Frank getting on the blower.
Sign Nathan Collins for 40 million. Come on.
Well, that's more safe and probably secures you more points than Tell. It's more guaranteed safety than Tell.
Hey, would you take Moise? Hey, Brains, would you take Moise Keane?
He had a good season, didn't he? This last season was
a very good season. But he was so pony in the Premier League.
Player who I always thought was just going to tear up everywhere he went, and then he kind of would show it for a bit, and then just lose it, and then come back a season later somewhere else and be like amazing, and then lose it. But now he seems like he's on a bit of a run.
Do you know what? Yeah, like who was in the Premier League that didn't like really tear it up, but is doing it now? Lookman.
Yeah, I know who you're going to say.
Lookman.
Oh, Lookman. I thought you were going to say Vitinha.
No, yeah, Vitinha at Wolves. Yeah. All right, now we're talking football. But I'm saying that I'm talking about players that we could potentially look at. I think Lookman. I don't know. Is he get a ball, or you think he's out of our range?
Who are you saying, Ash? Who are you saying?
Lookman.
No, sorry. Who did you think he was saying, Ben?
Vitinha.
He used to play for Wolves, isn't it?
Yeah. Lookman, why not? We can get Lookman.
Lookman's a gunman. I think he's a gunman.
Doesn't he have 1 year left on his deal?
Yeah, he's got about I think yeah.
20 goal contributions this season.
Won Europa at Atalanta, beat Liverpool to it, isn't it?
Hat trick in the final.
Crazy. I mean, I don't know why no one's really. And you know what? I put it in a group. What's it called? From West Ham. Kudos.
They want like 80 million for him or something.
Oh, that's crazy. Forget it.
Yeah, that's done, mate. That's
done. He's done me at the 80 million. No.
Isn't
What
it
about
rate clause as well? Like, it has to be paid as well. It's not
what about
like...
a sneaky bid for Ilman Indai?
I like Indai, and he did work.
Quality, man.
You know what?
Swap deal for Richarlison. Swap deal for Richarlison.
Do you remember when we played Sheffield United? Do you guys remember that?
He scored that goal, yeah.
And he scored a goal. I was like, who's that guy? I remember looking at him thinking, I always look at other clubs when we play them. I'm thinking, why don't we have that quality player in our team? And that's when I looked at Indai and I was like, this kid is good.
That over goal he scored this season was so quick, just bang. Like,
yeah. He's a player that could get a big move, man. I'll take him.
I'd love to do a swap deal for Richarlison for Indai, man. That would be an unbelievable move for us.
What about their DM though? You not rated the Everton's DM?
Who's their DM?
Chukwu or something. Was that his name?
No, man.
Ghana Gay.
Yeah, Gay, man.
Okay.
Nah.
That's it. He's just a gay.
He's what, 33?
Is he? Is he that old?
He's just a gay.
Yeah, I didn't know he was that old.
He's 35, mate.
35.
No way. Yeah, stay well away.
Bro, you're bringing fucking...
Ew.
You bring it to the table here, man.
Ew. Nelly.
You're bringing Zimmer frame, lad.
You know what it is? You know what it is? His defensive actions is crazy. That's what throws you off sometimes, isn't it? His defensive actions are crazy. But him and Leicester, what's the Leicester DM as well? Both of them are indeed. Yeah, indeed. His defensive actions are really good as well. But nah. One player I do like. He's from Seville. I think he's from Seville. What's his name, man? Forgot his name. Oh, it's gonna piss me off. Really good. What's his name, man?
Just check your recent searches.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that now. His name is. I still can't find him.
You're holding up the whole stream.
Agume. Sorry, guys. Agume. Have you heard of him? Agume. Yeah, Agume. Agume, the top BM, bro. Check him out. Agoume. Agume.
On that bombshell.
Would you want a double deal for Nathan Collins and Wisser? 60 million double deal. 60 million double deal, Wisser and Collins.
That would be amazing. That would be incredible. Because you've got like a really good, strong backup who's never going to ever get injured, touch wood. And Vessa, who just, I think Vessa's been great for a while. He should be the same as Mbeumo. They just look like they should be at bigger clubs. Yeah, I would take them.
Ash, I like both the lads from Wolves, Andre and João Gomes.
Yeah. Manchester United were looking at Andre for a long time. Never went through it, but he was from the Brazilian club that Richarlison came from.
Oh, was he?
Yeah. He's you know what? He's actually got really good ball carrying ability, but he doesn't show it in the Premier League for some reason. I don't know why, but he's actually really good. Because Wolves, they like to dribble a lot, and him and Gomez as a pair. I think Gomez is the one that goes looking for it, like a Romero, that he goes seeking for the problem. And I think Andre's more like positional and like wins the ball back in the defensive third. But they work well as a pair, innit? I like both of them.
This is a good. Malware says Strand Larson. Would you take him at Spurs?
I think my guy Agume is better than him because I looked at Larson from was it Frankfurt? The 20-year-old.
No,
20-year-old. Striker. Oh, the Wolf striker. Sorry. Oh, I was speaking about the DM. Oh yeah. Larson, yeah. He's actually all right. Is he Swedish or something?
Norwegian.
Norwegian. Yeah. My bad. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a handful. That Larson. He's
good. He's good. I like him. He's actually good.
And he's got more of a killer instinct as a striker. You can see it. Like, he just wants goals.
He's got more 14 goals in his first year in the Premier League.
Yeah, he's good.
And he got injured as well. He got an injury, didn't he?
Buwadi is good, man. Buwadi, young kid, 17 years old.
Really Have you guys seen?
You're bringing more teenagers, yeah?
No, but he's good.
He's the American CDM. Have you seen the guy? He's an American CDM. Plays at AC Milan. Musa.
Apparently, he's going to Napoli.
He's so good, man. He's like strong as hell. That guy. Every time I've seen him, I've been like, "Who is this guy?" And they're like, "Oh, he's an American player." Like, what?
Nathan Collins has spoken about Frank going to Tottenham.
What's he said? I'm coming with him.
He says, I'm going to miss him. He's had a really good spell at Brentford. He's done unbelievable things, and he deserves everything he gets.
I don't like that first line. It kind of sounds like he's not coming to Spurs.
I thought
Collins ain't coming.
Well, Frank is.
No, he just meant I'm going to miss him over the summer until we link up again in July.
Yeah, I like Ravella from is it Lazio? Swedish guy.
Yeah,
he's a good central midfielder. Can play DM. He's quite decent.
Chelsea. I'm going to jump out because it's getting mad late. So I'm going to.
Yeah, I think I'm going to end it anyway.
Yeah.
Okay.
So big up to everyone.
Listen to Ash Maddock talk about all the great players in the world forever.
Yeah,
that we're never going to get.
Brains, wash the shirt this time next week. Yeah, same time.
Jesus Christ.
We are have my side next time. Have my side.
And you're going to burn yours.
Your one looks a bit more brown, Brains, huh?
I've been wearing mine a bit.
Yes, this one looks a bit more fresh.
Got a bag sitting there. Sim just wears one every day, fresh, pops the tag, or he just waits for me to come on. He's like, "What's?" Yeah,
I heard Brains is coming on. You got to whip out the white.
He tried to show you up. Brains has got the off-white version.
Yeah. This was the beige one where they did it on a used beige t-shirt.
Mad.
Well, thanks for coming on, guys. Always a pleasure. And we'll see you all tomorrow. I think tomorrow is going to be the announcement. What do you reckon, guys?
Yeah, tomorrow's the announcement. I've heard anything.
Tomorrow is Thomas Frank Day.
So.
The train is coming into the station.
All the culture coming through.
Sim, did you get excited about Frank, or did you need? Was it just all the prodding that Ben was doing? It was like Ben was getting so
come on, get excited.
Get behind him.
I like Thomas Frank. I think he's an exciting appointment. I'm just. It's hard for me to get excited because his club every time we're just back here again.
When you're drowning in Australian paraphernalia.
Tomorrow, when you see him in the shirt, you're going to be gassed.
I said as soon as he says anything as representative of Tottenham, he's not the manager talking to us as the manager. I'm going to get excited. I know I am.
Yeah, I'll go with that.
Big up to everyone, man. We'll see you all tomorrow. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, come on,
you Spurs.